Just comb your hair, go and wash your face. It's been a real long time since you've seen the light of day. So let thoughts come and say, beauty and parade. Everybody all smiles when you're back in the seat again. All aboard the Petty Express to a beautiful darkness. It's full steam ahead to ride the rails to our next destination. Yeah!
Welcome everyone back to the Petty Express. Toot toot. We have Samuel X. Jackson, Secret Lovers, in the parking lot with the joy riding. Yeah, he had a fast car and Linda wanted a ticket to anywhere from here. She managed to save no money and didn't even get beer. Sad song. Tracy Chapman Redux next week. Come on, we can do it with the Linda Stermer trial. Anywho, so we are back with Mr. Chris Henry Williams, a man for whom, thank the Lord and tiny baby giblets that we have closed captions at this point, because this is horrifying. This is not the easiest testimony to understand, mostly because Mr. Williams is somewhat soft-spoken and does have a little whistle, and Mr. Kelly is, well, himself. I wanted to come up with a reason, and I was like, he's him. So without much further ado, let's get into this, because next we will have the lunch break. We will go into, I guess, a mutual friend of Kate Fox, and then actually Kate Fox. We'll have our break. We'll get to Dardita Gordon. So Dardita Gordon was the jailhouse snitch that apparently talked to Detective Maziowski. So, and then finally, and kind of the highlight, and it looks like it's going to be, look, y'all, get your hillbilly, Kleenex, your toilet paper rolls, because that is what they said, Dardita. I don't know anymore. I don't have answers. Let's get into this.
Yes.
Okay, so they came to your house?
Yes.
And did you give an interview to this man?
Their name, it was two people, a man and a woman.
Where did they contact you at?
I was living on the east side at that time, and they came to my home.
Well, you have to pardon me because I'm not familiar with the east side. Are you
The
talking
east side of
about
Kalamazoo.
Kalamazoo?
Yes.
Okay, so they came to your house?
Yes.
And did you give an interview to this man and this woman that's from the law enforcement at your house?
I didn't have a choice, yes.
What you mean you didn't have a choice?
I was served with a first-degree premeditated murder subpoena
To do what?
to testify, to come to court.
So before you came to court and testified, you were interviewed by these two individuals?
Yes, they served me with the subpoena, and then they asked if they come into my home.
So you were served with a subpoena, and then you was interviewed on the same date, the same time, at your house, right?
Yes.
Why is Mr. Kelly acting like this isn't somewhat normal procedure that, someone that had to be served might have to talk to, the investigators for the prosecutors, go over their testimony? This is not, anything ridiculous, even though the defense lawyer is trying to make it sound as though it is. This is kind of standard operating procedure. And Lord, I'm going to change those curtains. I don't know what got on them, but it looks like piddle, and I'm about done with them. But I only remember when I'm looking in the camera and I'm like, daggone it, I still didn't wash those.
Were you afraid?
Yes.
What were you afraid of?
The unknown.
Okay. Did you know
What?
of
Food?
any incident that involved a
Sponge?
physical
Shovel?
assault that occurred at Kim Link involving Ms. Stermer?
I don't think I was there. I was injured from a car accident, so I don't think I was there. I don't know if it was, we already asked it before or after. There was a lot of chaos constantly, so I don't know what time phrase are you referring to?
So you say there was a lot of chaos,
Yes.
but no chaos between you and Ms. Stermer, is
No.
that what you're saying?
No.
It was chaos between who?
Her and Kate.
Her and who?
Kate, her friend?
Would that be Kate Fox?
Yes.
And you knew her?
I knew of her as a coworker. I didn't know her.
Did you work with her also?
I didn't work with her. We worked at the same place. Same company, I should say.
Is she the person that got Ms. Stermer the job?
No.
Okay. So you didn't witness any physical assault. You just heard about some chaos. Is that right?
Yes.
Ooh, old lady throwdown.
Were you
I'm
provided
here. Was
any
there
type
Jell-O?
of statements that anyone else had made in reference to Ms. Stermer when you were interviewed by the officers at your home?
It wasn't that type of interview.
What kind of interview was it?
It was about phone calls,
Okay, and that's all?
pretty much.
They did ask you about how the fire started, right?
No.
They didn't ask you if she told you about the fire?
No.
Look, unlike, gosh, what is his name? And I always use him. He's not Gary Busey. Okay, he was in the second Predator. Danny Glover. Unlike Danny Glover, he decided to remove himself from the Bruce Willis, galaxy of chaos. See, Danny Glover never did. I don't know why he kept, letting Mel Gibson be his partner, but that seems like a personal choice to him. Good morning, Zarina. I love that name. Oh my gosh, Pudding,
You
go,
sure?
talk.
I'm positive.
Have you seen any of the interview that you gave to those officers that day?
No.
You've never seen the interview?
It was in my home. I didn't know it was an interview.
So prior to your testimony,
I feel like I've stumbled into Dude, Where's My Car Court Edition. I feel like I'm standing at that scene where one's yelling at the other one, dude! And what does it say on my tattoo? Bro! Dude! Bro! I feel like that's what I'm doing. I don't know where I am. I'm smelling burnt toast. What are we accomplishing with any of this?
in any previous court hearings, you didn't have an opportunity to see the interview that you gave?
Well, her body. He was attracted to her because she was a beautiful woman. He tried to say no because she was married, and she stalked him until he slept with her, as one does. Just for anyone, stalking someone is not a relationship make, no matter what you told you on Netflix. So there you go. The more you know, stalking is bad.
I don't understand your question, sir. Are you asking me, was I in court
Good
before in
luck,
this
Tim.
case?
Have a good day.
Have you been in court before this case?
Yes.
May I approach you? It's part of the statement. Did you read that and see if you remember that statement?
Oh my lord, I can physically see him going down each line. It's like one of those typewriters. I still want one of those typewriters. Not that I ever type anything. I don't know because I see him doing it and I want to start doing it. And then I remember I have a catch in my hip for internal rotation. And I'm like, oh, that's fun. And then, oh, flapjacks. That's a bad move. I'm going to feel that in the morning. Probably because he is deeply uncomfortable. I mean, how many of us would be comfortable if we did make a mistake, if we did cheat or facilitate cheating? And not only is that cheating doesn't end with, like a weird confrontation, but ends with you having to testify at your ex, side chick's murder trial. I mean, no one prepares for that or has enough Valium for that.
It's pretty much,
He does have
pretty much what I've already
glasses.
said.
No. They allegedly.
This man looked at his old testimony and said, that's what I said. Never mind. You know what, Chris Henry Williams, I hope you find you a woman that likes joyriding and isn't married and doesn't lead you into a court case. This is Timu Samuel L. Yes, this is Linda's secret lover moving through the night. Yeah, more like why does he remind me of When the Thunder Rolls? Oh gosh, Garth Brooks. He's dark Garth. That's bad. I didn't mean it to come out that way. Daggone it. What in the world is going on with this? But that shirt is something that dark Garth Brooks would wear. Like, I can't remember, what was his name? Like Rusty Scruggs or something? Something ridiculous. My grandma loved, like, there was not a sexier man than Garth Brooks to my grandma. That being said, she also told me that, if I didn't ever have rouge, I could use lipstick. So she liked Chris Gaines. Why did I think it was Rusty Scruggs? No, Garth Brooks, not Darth Brooks. Although that's a great name. No, Garth Brooks had like this dark alter ego. I shouldn't know this much lore of Garth Brooks. But yeah, he had like this dark Brandon sort of thing going. And it was his bad boy phase. My grandma was a fan. I mean, like we had posters, okay? Darth Brooks, Lord of the Sith, y'all. Oh my gosh, yes. I need to make that a t-shirt. I just need to figure it out how to do that and stuff.
So my question is, when I asked, did you remember the interview? And the investigating officer asked Chris Williams if he had asked Linda how the fire had started, to which he stated that he had asked her if she had killed Todd Stermer.
I do not remember that.
You don't remember that?
Not those questions, no.
And to which he stated she had almost immediately become emotional.
Your Honor, I guess I'm going to object at this point. He doesn't remember.
Garth was grandma bait. Must have been, because, okay, I'm glad, Zarina, we must have had the same grandma. Now, did your grandma have a picture of Sacred Heart Jesus, Mary, and Kennedy on the wall by any chance? And did we always have the Easter fronds before they became the Wednesday ashes? If you didn't grow up Catholic, you have no idea what this is, but those are staples.
So if
That's why they use.
he needs to ask if it refreshes his memory and then ask.
I just.
Give it back to him. So see if a review of it again will refresh your
Are you talking about the...
Is there a seeing eye doll? Is there a seeing eye dog that can somehow, a service animal that could guide us back to a path of like questions that matter? I feel like a crossing guard, like when people automatically slow down because there's a person directing traffic in the street and they kind of roll their eyes like, keep going, keep going. And I'm like, look, I'm just being safe. I mean, it's you're behind in the road, but no, by all means, I will speed. Thank you. I keep feeling like that. And now I understand why they roll their eyes and keep directing people to go faster. Because this is like an ADHD test and I'm failing.
The interview at my home? I'm confused.
I don't know if they interviewed
Oh
you.
dear Jesus, now we don't even know where this interview was. We thought it was at home and now we don't know what. Can we just boil this down and save ourselves the extra 10 minutes and figure that neither of these men know what they're talking about? Can that be an equation that makes sense at this point?
Someplace else or not.
I don't remember him asking me anything about her killing him.
You don't remember him asking you that?
Her killing part.
Thank you.
Ooh. If Granny's look could kill. Also, how much volumizer are you using? Are you back combing your hair? Oh, for God's sake, I'm not going to watch Linda stare this man down for 20 minutes.
Who's what?
Was it fair to say on that first day on the line that you worked side by side, you guys were flirting?
Yes.
And that's when she started calling you right away after she got your number.
Yes.
And you were asked by the defense attorney if you guys hung out at breaks together, if you had meals together at lunch while you were at work, and your answer was no. Is that
No.
correct?
Yes.
Were you worried about hanging out with a married woman at work?
Yes. We wasn't hanging out at work because no one knew.
So it was a secret.
Yes.
You said most of the time you were riding around, joyriding, or going maybe to Grand Rapids one time. So over the 6 to 8 months, is it fair to say that most of the time you guys were at your house?
Yes.
And that's where you guys were having sex?
Yes.
And you were single?
Yes.
You weren't married?
No.
Do you want to be here today?
No.
I just want him to say, hell no, one time, and I know that's wrong. I am judging him by his very similar look to Nick Fury in a lot of the Marvel things, so I just want him to be Nick Fury, which I know he is not. But if he could just have a hell no or, you know, a little snakes on a plane moment, I would be super excited. But we won't get it. Sadness.
You want to be talking about this?
I don't have a problem with it.
You want to be talking about having sex with the defendant?
No.
Is it easy?
No.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Well, at least you didn't ask if it was hard.
Other questions?
But I'm changed.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Okay, jury, any questions of him? We've got one, I think.
The only question is, why the hell Linda? Like, what was it with Linda? Are you a boob man? Are you a butt man? Was she more attractive? What's going on here? I need you to make this make sense for me while I have you under oath.
I have some questions from the jury, sir. Were you ever at the Todd Stermer residence or property, and if so, when?
Was I ever? Yes, long after the fire.
After the fire?
Yes.
Okay. How many interviews did you have with law enforcement?
One, when they came to my home that day.
Okay, thank you. Counsel, any questions in light of the questions and answers?
I don't have any questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Kelly?
No, why do you keep giving this man an opportunity to speak?
Mr. Williams, why would you be at the home that had burned down?
I don't know. That's a good question. We were.
You know, God love him, bless his heart. He's like, look, I don't know. She said, meet me here, and I did because there was a promise I might get some smexy time cuddles. I mean, why do men do a lot of things in marriage? I know Mr. Moe doesn't like to listen to court TV and stuff, but he does because he loves me and there's promise of married time possibly if the children move out.
Just out one day, and she decided to take me there.
She decided to take you.
To the location, there was no house, it was just concrete.
Well, because nothing says romance like, let's go look at the, burnt husk of my first marriage. Or my marriage. Nothing says romance like that.
Everything was clear. It was long after.
How long after?
I don't know, sir.
Well, you stated that this relationship
It
ended
would be.
sometime after the first 2 weeks of January, in January. So
Yes.
was it in January?
It was in the summer.
2007?
It was in the summertime. It was long after.
Summertime, summertime.
So was it-
We were not in relationships, and we're not in a relationship. We kept in communication. We were still communicating right before the officer came to my home.
Was the communication naked? I mean, because honestly, I don't get it. Are you in a situationship? Are you in a relation dateship? Are you just F buddies? Like, I don't want to think about it, but I know it happens. But I mean, what is communicating? Like, is it naked? I'm confused as all confusedness goes.
But
Two and
not,
But I
Two
also
and a
don't
half
want
years later.
details.
but not in any type of physical relationship, right?
No. It was all over.
And did you ever call just to check on her to see how she was doing from the loss of her husband in the fire?
No.
Sometime way after the burning of the house, you went out to see the property.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe a year and a half later,
Yes.
maybe 2 years later.
Maybe.
Okay, thank you.
Did she call you and want to take you out there?
I don't know exactly how it happened, but it happened.
So you went with her out to that property?
Yes.
I have no other questions. Thank you.
He had a fast car, and she had a burnt husk of her house. Maybe a little picture where she ran over her husband and all that stuff. She hopes things will get better, but Mr. Kelly's still her lawyer, and we're stuck here. Linda's hair is voluminous and fluffy as her sweater, and it really does help distract from that sour look on her face. It's never fun when our exes talk about us in court, is it?
Mr. Kelly, any more?
Done, yeah.
Jury, any other questions? No? May he be excused from his subpoena,
I would
counsel?
ask that you please be excused from subpoena, Your Honor.
No objections.
Chucky, we were saying not Wesley Snipes, Timu Samuel L. Jackson. But, you know, Wesley Snipes might not be... I'm not picturing him dressed up as Noxzema Jackson, my favorite Wesley Snipes movie. If you haven't seen To Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar, and you like big ridiculousness and Patrick Swayze and drag, then I say you should do it. Do it. Go watch it. It's a great movie. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll be upset that Patrick Swayze looks beautiful as a woman. It's a great movie.
Okay, thank you, sir, you're all done.
Oh, thank you.
Jury, will take our lunch break until 1:15, and remember not to discuss the case.
Break. I'm telling you that picture, they purposely, Court TV, you are wrong for that. You picked the worst picture of Linda possible.
Ma'am, before you have a seat, I'll have you face me, please, and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this trial will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Please have a seat, and once you're settled, we'll have you give us your full name and spell the last. And if you can move that microphone toward your mouth, that will help.
Kathy Lee Ilg, ILG.
Thank you. Ms. Irene?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Ilg, do you know a Linda Stermer?
Yes.
How do you know Linda Stermer?
We had a mutual friend, Kate Fox.
Do you recall when you first met her?
It was probably about a year before the fire.
So sometime in 2006?
Yes.
And did you spend time with Ms. Stermer?
I've only spent time with her maybe 3 times.
And would that have been before the fire or after the fire?
2 times, I believe, before the fire, and 1 time after the fire.
What was the first time? What did you guys do?
Went over there to see the curly horses. They were beautiful. Curly horses. Horses with curly hair. They're beautiful.
Okay, no. Oh.
So you went,
Okay, wait, we're looking up curly horses because I call what is a curly horse. Oh my Bob Ross. It is a Chia Pet horse. Oh, I want one now. I totally do. I need one. Look, they're beautiful. They've got little like fluffy. They're so fluffy. Oh my gosh, this is the Fabio. Like he goes on romance novels. I love how I get distracted. I'm like, curly horses. Now I can see why you had 30 of them. Linda, I retract everything. I would get 30 curly horses too. It does look like a horse-a-doodle. It's like if you mixed a Labrador, or what is it, a Labrador and a poodle, so it would be a horse, a hadoodle? A hadoodle. I love it. Welcome to my hadoodle ranch. I'm Cowgirl Mo. Oh my gosh, yes, I am making a hadoodle ranch. Oh no, I mixed it up. Are we not shocked? We are not. Oh, for heaven's sake, what did I do now? Oh, I know. I was going to seamlessly move from screen to screen, and I ended up just ending the screen because I am a ridiculous thing. Well, so Chucky, what it sounded like, and I could be wrong, is that Linda was trying to operate some sort of horse sanctuary or rescue, because I guess she had a bunch of horses that were going to be surrendered or handed over. I don't know. I guess none of them were broken or trained to haul people. Maybe she was going to break them and train them to do horse and horse-related things. At this point, the horses have never been explained. The construction of that shirt is confusing to me. Okay.
Went over to her home and saw the horses?
Yes.
And at that time, was it just you and Linda, or were there other people there?
Kate was there, and I believe her daughter Kelsey was there, and the second time I went, her husband was there.
Okay, and then what did you do the second time you went over there?
Same thing, went to see the horses, but I went in and Linda introduced me to her husband. I said hello. He was working on the house.
And so that was, do you recall how close of time that was before the fire?
Couple months?
And then you weren't there then anymore prior to the fire?
No.
And then you said you had met Linda one time after the fire?
Yes, after the house had burned, there was no way to contain the horses and to water them and feed them because the water wasn't working. So one of the horses was coming to my house. Litzy was the horse's name. And we went over there, me, Kate, her brother Steve.
When you say brother Steve, was that Kate's brother Steve?
Brother Steve, to take apart the back deck so that we could build a lean-to at my house because horses have to have a place to go inside.
And so you were assisting her then with getting those materials so you could take the house? Or take the horse?
Yes.
Okay. And when you were at the house with Miss Stermer after the fire, did she ask you to help her remove any items?
We had gone in the shed to look for something. I don't even remember what. Might have been tools to help tear down the back deck. It was a really tall deck.
And then, did you find anything in the shed?
Well, I thought it was odd that there were the children's school pictures. You know how you frame them and you have for kindergarten through whatever grade? They were stacked up in there, and I was kind of concerned about them because of mice and rats. Then I wondered what.
And that right there is what I call some bull. Now, as a mom, I can tell you I treasure every, picture of my kiddos. I don't print them out as often as I should. I am a terrible, terrible genlennial mom. All of their photos reside in digital form. But those are keepsakes. And the fact that they were put in the shed and not touched during the fire, very, very interesting. Again, not something that you can really quantify, but again, shows a level of premeditation that I've been waiting for. Not that this is a red herring or this is a total she done it, but the fact that those pictures, those really, big parts of all these boys' lives that would be really sacred to a mom, they were put out in safety. Something doesn't add up here, and it's not looking good for Linda.
What they were doing in the shed, and that they, I mean, it was good they didn't burn, but that they weren't in the house.
So you found it, you questioned why they were in the shed
Yeah.
with mice versus in the house.
Correct?
And you're repeating her answers, and I get you're just trying to clarify, but if there are objections, no worries.
Thank you, Your Honor. And did you say something to Linda about those pictures that you saw?
Yeah, I just said, those pictures out there, maybe we need to move those out of there.
Did she tell you why the pictures were in the shed?
Nope, and I didn't ask any more after that.
She didn't tell you how they got there?
No.
Did she ever ask you to go into the rubble of the house?
She had gone in to look for something. I used to be a firefighter in South Haven, and I knew it wasn't a good idea to go into a house that had been that destroyed by fire. So when she went in to look for something, I thought she said her rings.
And before she continues, thank you, ma'am. You'll probably never ever see this, but thank you for your service as a fighter. Even, a lot of in rural areas, firefighters are volunteers, they are people, everyday citizens, your neighbors who, jump up whenever they get called and go out and help their fellow neighbors. So thank you so much, ma'am, for that and for taking care of one of the horses, one of the curly, fluffy puppy horses. And could I please pet one? Look, I'm being nice.
I said I didn't think it was a good idea to go in there, so I did not go in.
Did she go in?
Yes, she did.
Did she tell you what she was looking for?
I thought she said rings and some cup that was in the dishwasher.
Did she say why she was trying to find a cup in the dishwasher?
She didn't say. No.
At some point, then, did you drive her van that day?
Yeah, I went to get something to drink and drove into town to the gas station and got something to drink for everybody.
And this is after she told you she was going into the house to look for rings?
Yes.
And did you see anything in the van?
I seen a bunch of jewelry in the, they have those little cubby places where you can put like your phone, but this was older. Yeah. And the jewelry was sitting there and I wondered if that was her jewelry. So when I got back, I said to her, there's jewelry in the van.
What'd she say?
That wasn't the ones she was looking for.
Did she ever tell you about how the fire started?
No, I never asked.
And she never told you anything?
No.
Did she ever tell you from the time you met her up until recently if they'd had any physical violence between the two of them?
Chucky, this was 18 years ago, and at that time she had already placed her, so contemporaneously to the house burning down, she had already been retired. So my guess is, look, I hate to do this to a fellow lady person, but maybe she was in her early 20s or 30s. I mean, at this, probably around the time of the fire, she was maybe in her 40s. So she looks late 50s, early 60s to me. Sorry, ma'am, if I'm wrong. So I think that she was more of a mutual acquaintance, like not someone that you can really go up to and right after a tragedy say, hey, how did your husband die? Maybe she wasn't good enough friends like that to where she was like, okay, someone's asked me to help with a horse. I'll go there, but I'm not going to, we're not friends like that. Because the way she makes it sound, she was more friends with Kate, who was also friends with Linda. So kind of Kate Fox was the person that Linda and the other Kathy, kind of orbited around. So I don't think that they were good enough friends that honestly, she sounds like she was more there for the horse than the people. And I'm kind of cool with that. I can understand being more of a horse person than a people person.
She did not know.
Did you ever see any marks on her?
No.
Were you involved a little bit with the horses in terms of talking to her about horses?
Only the days that I've been there.
Did she ever tell you if she went out of state to get these horses or?
Yeah.
What'd she tell you?
That her and Kate would go pick up horses in different states and places because I believe she was a curly horse rescue.
And did she say she'd be out of town for very long?
They'd be out of town for sometimes a day, sometimes not. It depended upon how far they had to go.
Do you know if Linda had a cell phone?
Yes, she had two, a matter of fact.
She had two? How do you know she had two cell phones?
Because I got a call from some number and the message had been left, and I asked Kate what was going on because that wasn't
And welcome, Kate.
the normal phone number that Linda called from. And Kate just said it was her other phone.
I'm gonna stop you there, yeah. So you got a number, did you call that number back?
No.
I have no further questions for this witness, thank you, Your Honor.
Oh, they switched seats. Wait, that makes no sense. Why are you going to switch seats when Mr. Kelly has always been in the middle, and then Mr. Kelly would have had to move to get to, oh, maybe he was talking to Linda getting the deets. She's like, she is mean, and the horses don't even like her, and she was never a firefighter, and she was ugly, and she still has my Tupperware. I mean, probably that's what there was. Guess we will be
Good
annoyed,
afternoon, ma'am.
but I can deal with that after being bored.
Excuse me.
You all right? You need some water or something? You have only been to the Stermer house 3 times, am I right?
Correct.
2 before the fire, 1 after the fire.
Correct.
And Steve Benny is your friend? I mean, is Kate Fox's brother?
Kate Fox and I were friends.
Okay. Were you friends with Steve Benny too? And his wife
I knew
Tina?
him. I'd been to his house.
Have you done favors for Steve Fox, like boarded horses or anything like that?
For whom?
Steve Benny, sorry.
No.
Okay, did you ever board horses for Linda Stermer after the fire?
Yes.
As a favor to Steve and Tina?
No, as a favor to Linda.
The jewelry you said you found, ma'am, I take it to be in the center console of the van,
Yeah.
right?
Up by there.
All right.
Radio.
You don't know that that's all the jewelry that Linda Stermer owned, right?
No, I do not.
Okay. Did she tell you she was, strike that. Do you know whether she had like wedding rings in the house that she had lost in the fire?
She said that's what she said she went in for a ring. She didn't tell me what ring it was.
In and around May of 2007, about 4 months after the fire, you were very close friends with Kate Fox, right?
Correct.
And you've been close friends with Kate Fox since before the fire, right?
Correct.
And if Kate Fox asked you to do favors, you would do favors for Kate Fox, right?
Depends on the favor.
Okay, well,
Where are we going with this?
did you act as a go-between between Kate Fox and the police with regard to Linda Stermer?
No, I only talked to the police once.
You talked to the police once and told the police in an anonymous call that you had a friend who needed to talk to them?
It was not anonymous, and I told them that they needed to speak to Kate Fox.
Were you doing a favor for Kate Fox at the time?
No,
Did you ever ask Kate Fox, why didn't you call the police yourself?
no. This was like as soon as I heard about the fire.
So within a week or so? It's a small town, you must have heard about it right away.
Yeah. I think it
Where
was a
are we
while
going
ago. I
with
know
this?
that it wasn't because I talked to Kate.
I mean, what's wrong with, again, if Kate Fox reached out to her and said, look, I need this to not come from me, but I need to talk to the police. I need it to look organic because of certain things I know. Then I'm sure a friend is going to say, hey, I got your back. I'm your ride or die.
You talked to the police within a week or so of the fire, am I right?
Correct.
Wouldn't have been in May of 2007,
Timmy, you
right?
do have a very cute cat.
Perhaps.
Would it be fair to say, ma'am, that 18 years after this fire, your memory's not as good now as it was back then?
As far as dates,
And your testimony to our jury is that you did not act as a go-between, am I right?
correct.
You don't know why there were any pictures in that shed, am I right?
No,
You never spoke to Steve Benny about it?
No,
You never spoke to the Stermer sons about it?
no, I don't even know who they are.
Okay. You've never even met them?
No, they weren't at the house when I came in.
Give me 1 second, Your Honor.
Miss Nina, I like that. Excuse me. Oh, she's so cute. Oh, for goodness sake. It takes 5 minutes for you to have a
Man, when
crime advocate.
Linda Stermer went in the house, Steve Benny was with her as well, right? He was sifting through things.
I don't recall.
Don't know one way or another.
No,
When exactly did you go to the Stermer house and drove the Stermer van?
the day that, it was after the fire, the tape was still around the house, and I had asked if she had permission to go into the house because I used to be a firefighter, so I knew you couldn't go in. And she said yes, and
Who said that?
Linda had said that she had permission to go in.
Okay. How many days after the fire? Is this immediately after the fire?
It was within a week or two because the horses, Litzy needed water. There was no way to get water to them because without electricity, the pumps didn't work.
Okay. So within 7 to 14 days of this fire, you drove the Stermer van to a gas station.
Correct.
Linda, as you know, having been with her a couple times, was very much into horses, right?
Correct.
Spent a lot of time with horses.
Correct.
Did Kate Fox own horses?
I don't know. She didn't when I knew, when I hung around with her.
And when you hung around with her before and after the fire, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Again, where are we
I don't know
going
the
with
questions.
this?
Thank you, ma'am.
The reason that you told the police officers about Kate Fox is what?
Things that Kate had said to me.
At that time, were you aware if Linda and Kate were close?
Yes, that's part of the reason Kate and I aren't friends anymore.
So you knew at that time that they were close?
Yes,
And I just want to just be clear, when she said she asked you to go into the home, it was to look for jewelry and a cup in the dishwasher, is that correct?
correct.
That's all he asked and answered, so.
I have no further question there.
I'm kind of shocked as hell the police gave her the murder van back. I mean, who the hell does that? Who the hell drives that van again? I mean, heaven forbid I put myself into Linda's uncomfortable orthopedic shoes, but if I accidentally ended someone's life with a vehicle, I would never drive again. I just couldn't do it. And to take that and just be driving it as like the family vehicle, I don't get that. That is so morbid to me. I mean, I guess you do what you got to do, but they did have Tahoe, so I don't know. I'm just shocked the police gave them the van back. Holy God. I mean, that was covered in blood and viscera, basically. Hey, Joe, I'm with you. I hit a raccoon with my Pinto decades ago, couldn't drive it again. I had my mom's old Toyota Previa minivan, and I ran over a possum, and I felt so bad. I still had to drive it because I was a broke college student, but I never liked the van after that, and it was my fun van. Okay, I'm not going to tell you guys this because, look, I think the statutes of limitations has, but when you have a minivan in college, that is not a detriment. You can basically get all of your drunk friends in the car and take them to a gas station or take them places for money. Allegedly in Minecraft, I did not do that. I was a safe and careful driver and did not take a bunch of drunks over to Kentucky to buy lower cigarettes for money in Minecraft. That being said, if you go to the University of Southern Indiana and cigarettes are still cheaper, just go to Kentucky.
Go ahead. One second.
Cory, do you have any questions of her? I've got a couple hands going up.
Ooh, jury's got a question, a ponder, a riddle, something to say. How do you do? Jury questions.
Town for drinks when Linda was... Questions from the jury. Which van did you drive into town for drinks when Linda was going through the rubble? Like what color or make and model?
I do not recall what make and model it was a while ago. I believe it was blue, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
I'm sorry, what?
It could be blue, but
I could,
maybe she
I
said
could be wrong.
Yeah, I believe it was blue, but I could be wrong. And were the pictures found in the shed in frames or binders, or were they loose?
They were in frames all stacked up on top of it. There was some other stuff there, and they were stacked on top of it.
Okay. Counsel, any questions in light of...
That is what we call 100% authentic susness. All pictures, important documents were put in this shed where they wouldn't get hurt by the fire. Linda, Yeah, things that make you go sus.
Are those questions and answers?
No, Your Honor.
No? Any question, Mr. Mueller?
Maybe I misheard you. You said it was Linda Stermer's van that you drove to the gas station within a week or 2 weeks of the fire, am I right?
I think it was a van,
Linda Stermer's van, as far as you remember.
as far as I remember.
Thank you.
Did she give you the keys to drive whatever vehicle?
Yes, and money to buy the water too.
So she handed you keys and money?
Correct.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Mueller, anything else?
No.
Jury, any other questions? May she be excused from subpoenas?
I would ask that you please be excused, Your Honor.
Any objection, defense?
No comment.
Thank you, ma'am, you're all done and you're excused from this subpoena.
Oh, she's such a me. I'd be like, get this thing out of me. Can I run? Oh, she is like, I'm hauling
On the
behind.
side of me, you may call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Oh, wait,
Call Kate
no.
Fox.
We need to baconate because look at that side eye. Now I'm going to slow it down, but we can actually see where she side eyes the ever living hell out of Linda. And it's going to come up right here, and chair,
Ms.
right there.
Siderman, you may call your next witness.
Thank you, Your
Okay,
Honor.
sorry,
Call
I just-
Kate Fox to the stand, please.
Had to see it. Oh my gosh, I'll have to look at it. Oh, Linda, oh no, someone came in with her full Princess Empress of the Pettyverse crown on. Ma'am, hello. Oh no, I have the perfect. We need to add a necklace for this because we have come with petty energy. This woman is walking in with a petty and a purpose. All right. Just for her. Petty. The pettiest, most elaborate necklace I own. It's for my Ruth Bader Ginsburg outfit. Oh, my boys broke it. How, all right. We're not even going to put it on because they broke it. Can't have nice things. Just going to make it a crown. Ooh. For Halloween, that chick from Moulin Rouge. Just a thought. Anywho, she has her petty crown on. I love that my job consists of being a goofball. Let's get on to this, though, after I've had enough fun. But I just want you to check this walkout. This is full. I am an empress. I am in charge, and I'm going to wreck your life, Linda Stermer. Oh, does she have her own lawyer? Oh my God. We gotta represent.
Ma'am, before you have a seat, I'll swear you in if you raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please have a seat, and when you're settled in, we'll have you state your full name and spell the last, please.
Catherine K. Fox, FOX.
Thank you, Ms. Siderby.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Fox, do you know Linda Stermer? How did you know Linda Stermer?
We met through our children.
How did your children spend time together?
My daughter was a cheerleader and her son played football.
So they went to school together?
They did.
And was there a time that you worked with Linda Stermer?
Yes.
Do you recall when that was, when you started working with her?
Roughly June of '06.
Had you been working there prior?
No,
Did you both start on the same day?
we did. We interviewed and started on the same day.
And what place of employment are we talking about?
Chemlink, that was first located in Kalamazoo and then moved to Schoolcraft.
And how well did you know her before you started working together?
I'd only known her for a few months.
So it was really just more through your children?
Well, I mean, once we started talking, we hit it off pretty well. We were friends.
Did you have some
Best
common
friends.
interests?
Besides the kids, horses, we went to auctions together. We bought a lot of furniture. I refinished old furniture, so.
Miss Fox, are you related to the medium smart or the ultra thumb? Must know. Inquiring minds need to know. Hey, we don't disrespect Reba, but it is a McMullet. Look, it's the 80s. You basically had a mullet right up here so you could fluff these out real big to the side, do your this up here, and then long and, well, big and long.
So we went to the auctions and bought old furniture.
And you said something with horses. You guys, did you do
She
something?
had horses. My daughter was horse crazy, so we spent time there for my daughter to be able to ride and things.
Did you go any horse shows or pick up horses or anything like that with her?
No, I didn't have much to do with that part of it.
So you started working on the same day. Did you end up carpooling together to go to work?
We did.
Did you
Because
start that right?
we both lived in Lawrence, and it was quite a drive to Kalamazoo.
Did you
so-
start that right away?
Yes,
So as soon as you got the job?
pretty much, yes.
So that would have been June of about 2006, you said.
Yes,
Did you guys get close as you were spending time together?
yes,
And did you talk a lot in the car?
yes,
Did you talk about Linda's marriage?
yes.
What did she tell you about her marriage?
She told me that her husband was abusive to her. She was very unhappy in her marriage.
Did she say she wanted out of the marriage?
Overall that.
Yes, she said she wanted out of the marriage.
Did you see any evidence of any physical abuse on Ms. Stermer at all?
Not once, not ever.
At some point, did she talk to you about Chris Williams?
She did.
Wait,
And what did she tell you about?
I was writing a note, so let me see what Miss Linda.
At some point, did she talk to you?
Not ever.
Ooh.
At some point, did she talk to you about Chris Williams?
She did.
And what did she tell you about Chris Williams?
They were having a relationship.
Do you know when that started?
I am not sure. I don't know how long after it started before she talked to me about it.
Was it shortly after you started working there?
It was at least a couple of months.
And what did she say about Chris Williams?
That he was extremely important to her.
How did she describe her feelings for him?
She wanted to be with him.
Do you recall ever overhearing any conversations between her and Mr. Williams?
Yes, they talked pretty much every night on the way home on the phone.
Ghost, yes, you can typically, you'll try to hide it, maybe wear longer sweaters. There are some things to look for if you notice a friend is wearing climate inappropriate wear. Like say I'm wearing this and it's the middle of summer and I say it's just because I'm uncomfortable, or maybe I'm cold. Makeup. There are signs. If you've been there, there are signs. I wish I could articulate them better, but it's the same thing with Sarah Boone. When a person is crying, victim and they're not, and you might not be able to put it into words, but it really is the totality of the package. Again, if Linda was so afraid of Todd that he had allegedly, according to Linda, tried to grape her the night before the fire, she wouldn't have told him that she was getting divorced. She wouldn't have brought up the papers. She wouldn't have been so flippant about using his business credit card for her gas. There are things that if you are in a controlling relationship that you don't test those boundaries. And these are some fairly deep boundaries. Not to mention, if Todd was controlling, he would have monitored her everywhere she went. She had a phone. It's 2007. He could probably do some sort of location tracking or some sort of tracking on their shared phone bill. That's why she had a second cell phone. I mean, there are just things that don't add up with Linda's behavior, with Linda's, story. And it's not always something you can put into words. I'm sure the doctorologist could do it, but there is something that doesn't ring true. Yes, she did have 2 phones that came out in the last witness, and my guess is that Kate Fox is going to spill the tea. I mean, Kate Fox looks like she got her own attorney, meaning that there were probably some shenanigans. Now, there have been allusions to a sort of physical altercation at ChemLink, at the place they used to work. So it looks like it went to, it went to DEFCON level, like old granny fighting at work. Allegedly. Hopefully we will find out.
In your car?
She usually drove.
So she talked as you guys were driving back and forth?
Yes,
Did she say if this relationship was sexual?
she did.
What'd she say about it?
She said it was the best lover she ever had.
Your Honor, it's what the defendant said. She's describing her relationship.
Still relevance.
I find it relevant.
And it's shown.
I find it graphic, but I have a really overactive imagination, and let me just say that that is a horrifying thought. Reverse cowgirl. I'm throwing it out there. Look, if I have to be tormented with the image, you have to. Too.
Showing she's gone on examination under oath, saying she is, thank you, Your Honor. So she said that he was the best lover she ever had?
Yes.
Did you know where Mr. Williams lived?
I had occasion to go there with Linda. I never went inside the house, but I did sit in the car while she went inside after work a few times.
How long were you sitting outside?
How long did they make you sit outside while they did the naked nookie? Ew. Ew, why would she make you? That is some hotastic friend behavior. Linda is a bad friend. You know those friends who are ride or die until they meet the new Mr. Now? I mean, y'all know everyone has that friend who is ride or die until her latest boyfriend, who is totally going to be the one, gets there. And if you possibly have to say something like, I don't think he's ever had a job, or, he's got a lot of felonies, you're the bad one. Yeah, Linda went straight on into, screw you, friends, I got a boy. Also, ew. Also just rude. Linda, you should expect petty. You made this woman sit outside while you went and had little naked nookie time with Samuel L. Jackson from Timu. What the hell?
Half
And
hour, 45
welcome.
minutes.
Did she say what she was doing?
And Antediluvian Fire, welcome, and love your avatar. I need a cape. I really do. Or a hooded cape. Just for when I go to Walmart, grocery days.
Inside?
It seemed implied. I didn't ask.
And she told you that's Chris's house?
Yes.
At some point, did the police contact you about Mr. Williams?
About him,
Or ask you about him?
when I talked to them, yes.
Did you tell them where Mr. Williams lived?
I believe so.
Were you aware of any phones that Linda had?
Yes.
And what did she have in terms of phones?
She had one phone that was the phone that her family knew about and another phone that they didn't.
And how did you know that the family didn't know about that phone?
Because she told me that.
Did she tell you where she kept it?
Sometimes she left it at my house, and sometimes she told me she had found a spot underneath the dash in her blazer where she could put the phone.
Did you hear her talking on that phone?
Yes.
And who was she talking to?
Chris.
I want you to think about an incident at Thanksgiving prior to the fire. Did you call the police?
I did. That was in 2006.
So just a little less than 2 months before the fire,
Bless
correct?
her heart.
If I told you the fire was
Yes,
January 7th
yes.
of 2007?
I will say that, when you eventually do the married mamba, I remember just sitting here and thinking, that is what everyone was talking about? That was it? My first relationship may not have worked because I do think I said that right after, which, in hindsight wasn't reassuring to my, boyfriend. But I meant more as like, that's all? Like, what is that? This is okay. It's weird, that expectation that you build up with romance novels and Hallmark and everything, and you're like, huh. That's weird. Like, okay, people do this. Interesting. Oh my God. Your mom sounds awesome. I'm glad to meet other people that don't have filters, because I always feel like I'm the only one, that always pops off with like the absolute worst thing to say at any given moment. I meant more like the whole physical act. I thought that there'd be more, like a fireworks or a fire or Barry Manilow or anything. It was more, I had built it up in my head, and I was like, eh. That being said, that relationship didn't last. Who's surprised? To be fair, I did try to explain it, but I was worse at explainerating than I am now, so,
And can you tell the jury then why you called the police?
I called the police because she called me hysterical and said that she had a gun and wanted me to give her one good reason not to shoot him.
Not to shoot him?
Not to shoot Todd. And I did my best to calm her down, but at the end of the conversation, I still wasn't comfortable that things had calmed down, and so I called the police.
Oh, the plot thickens. So, interesting. So, Linda now, with this witness, with Kate Fox, and the jury has to believe them. So, every witness is, it's all going to be up to what the jury believes or what they don't. But again, this willingness to get rid of Todd is the nexus of every problem in Linda's life, according to Linda. He's the reason, they can't save money. He's the reason that she can't have all these horses. The house is never finished. He doesn't have a solid job. He's mean to her, which maybe means setting boundaries or something like that. It is now that they're setting up the premeditation. Again, the photos in the shed is big for me. Now, that speaks to me. If I were a juror, that would be something that would be notable to me. And it's interesting to see in juries what is notable to each person, because it might not be the same piece of evidence that really clicks that over in their head for either not guilty, the state hasn't proven it, or this is the piece of evidence I needed. Now, to be fair with you guys, I've always been sort of on Linda did something, but these last two witnesses have really cemented that this was probably premeditated to me.
Did you know she had a gun prior to that?
I didn't. I'd never seen a gun.
Had she ever talked about shooting him before that?
She talked about various ways that she had thought about getting rid of him.
What did she say to you?
She talked about shooting him. She talked about running over him with her car.
First rule of Homicide Club: don't talk about Homicide Club. Don't, fantasize with your friend while you're carpooling to work about offing your husband. Don't call said friend hysterical with a force multiplier saying, just give me one good reason. And then also, don't do this. Leave your husband. If you are that unhappy, there is nothing holding you there. Yes, the kids are going to adjust to mom and dad not being together. It sucks. It sucks when a family implodes. But you know what sucks more is when a father dies because a mom's tired of dealing with him, because she wants to be selfish, have horses, and do whatever the hell she wants. That's the part that really bothers.
Poisoning him.
And she talked about all this with you.
Yes.
And why was she talking about this?
Objection, cross-examination versus state line.
I'll rephrase.
Yep, sustained.
What was the context of that conversation?
Generally, it was when she was talking about how unhappy she was in her marriage.
She ever talked to you about Todd being suspicious of her?
Not until late in 06. It was late in 06. She said that she felt like he was getting suspicious.
She talked to you about a post office box?
Yes, I actually went with her when she opened that post office box.
Why, what was?
Because she had credit cards and phone bills and things that Todd didn't know about, and she had the bill.
Okay, so this is not only marital deception, this is financial deception. Linda has basically started carving out her own independent life from Todd. And the more Linda carves out her independent life, the more Todd becomes an accessory. Todd becomes a thing that is the obstacle in the way of my new fun life. She has definitely taken the 80-20 thing from Why Did I Get Married? You know, she has 80% of what she wants, or maybe 60% of what she wants in her marriage, and she goes around looking for that 40% she's missing instead of working on what might be flawed but might be salvageable. You know, this is really, again, setting up that Linda had a secret life. Linda had her own agenda, and Todd got in her way. So this is really laying those, and it's very good. I think it's good that they put this toward the end to, you know, really bolster their case. There was a time for days 1, 2, and 3, even into 4, that I was really kind of wondering where the state's case was. But these two last witnesses have definitely they've punctured, you know, Linda's tire, so to speak. She's not running from this. Yeah, she came here to do business.
Sent to the post office box so that he didn't see them.
And you went to that post office box?
I did. There were several occasions when I went and got the mail out for her and gave it to her.
So you actually picked it up for her?
Yes.
What was your relationship with Todd Stermer, if any?
From when our friendship started, she had told me that he was jealous of the time that we spent together and that he didn't like me. So I didn't have contact with Todd.
And that was because of what she said to you?
Yes.
Notice the manipulation. He doesn't like you. Don't talk to him. Where Todd might have just been busy working on the house, you know, every time he gets a free moment, that he's not ignoring her friends. He isn't being hateful or anything like that. He is simply focused on work and wouldn't make the first move to go talk to, you know, one of his wife's friends. So Linda has effectively, you know, kept Kate in this, you know, Todd is a one-dimensional character. If Kate got to meet Todd, then she would start putting together these sort of lies. And she really has to avoid that. So Todd doesn't like you. He's jealous of us. He's controlling. It feeds into that narrative that Linda is building because Linda has to be the victim when this eventually goes down. Oh my God, I've turned into Nancy Grace. I mean, there's a possibility she is still innocent, but let's be real, y'all. Run him over with a van. End of.
After the fire, did you talk to her about the fire?
Thank you so much.
I asked her
Gail.
about it. She told me that her attorney had advised her not to discuss it.
So you didn't have any conversations
We
with her?
did
about
not, no.
it? Did she ever say anything about Todd being run over by a van?
She did.
What'd she say?
She told me that she had run over him with the van.
Did she tell you why?
No. Well, she said it was smoky and she didn't see him, that he had run out of the house, and she was trying to get in the van to go for help.
Yes, JKD Buck, Mr. Mo is going to be safe. And he asks me this all the time. And I always tell him, which he doesn't find reassuring, is everyone gets caught. So no, I don't think about unaliving anyone because everyone gets caught. And I have my favorites, Tammy Cruz. I once had a friend who I found out was involving me in her infidelity. I was watching her kids when she stepped out. I was not helping her do it. No, absolutely. You weren't. And, you know, I'm sure... Oh, people are gross. If you don't like your partner, leave them. Leave them and free yourself up from the shackles of a relationship that isn't working before you try to endeavor to go into a relationship that is going to be built on something, you know, unsolid. Don't cheat. It's a dick move.
Had you talked to Kathy Ilg about any concerns you had?
Yes. I told her I felt like I needed to speak to the police, but there was so much sympathy for her at work at that point after the fire that I didn't feel like I could go to them directly.
So you didn't want to go directly?
No, I didn't want anyone to know that I had contacted them because it would have made my life really hard at my job.
After the
And that is
fire, did Ms. Stermer
absolutely
ever give you,
an acceptable reason. Again, what the defense was trying to shade as, were you a go-between? Were you, a facilitator between, Kate and the police? Were you, being their little go-between? No, she just laid out there was intense sympathy for Linda, and no one ever, it's intensely, nerve-wracking, anxiety-inducing to be the one person that says, hey, I know she seems like the victim here, but I have some information that might change that. So it does seem incredibly reasonable in a small town, in a small company, that she would reach out through an intermediary.
her locker keys from work?
She took some time off after the fire, and she said there were things in her locker that she needed me to take out for her.
Do you recall what those items were?
I never looked at them. It was just a bag of stuff that was in the locker.
And then where did you take those?
I took them home with me.
Were you able to give them back to her?
Eventually, initially they had been set on top of a trunk in my house. Someone had opened it at some point and the bag had fallen behind it and I couldn't find them. And she was very angry.
What was she saying to you?
She accused me of stealing them or keeping them intentionally.
Were these paper items or were they items?
It felt like a bag of mail.
Eventually, did you find those items?
I did.
Did you give them back to her?
I did.
Did you store anything at your house for her?
Like I said, occasionally the phone, before the post office, sometimes bills, phone bills.
When you talked to deputies about Mr. Chris Williams, were you able to describe his vehicle?
Yes.
And you also then
Fast.
knew his address?
Well, I didn't know the exact address, but I knew how to get there. I'm not very good with streets in Kalamazoo.
So you just told them the location?
Basically, yes.
Did Linda ever ask you to lie for her when she was with Chris?
Like I said, I had no contact with Todd, so no.
Did you ever have any further conversations about what happened on the fire, the day of the fire, or about her running him over?
No, I'm pretty sure she only told me that the one time. And honestly, I didn't want to know.
Did Linda call you a few days after the fire and ask you to go out to the scene?
Yeah, I'm not really sure how long it was. It was shortly after the fire. She called me. It was late at night. It was pouring rain, and she said she needed me to bring a flashlight and come out to the house because there was a coffee cup in the dishwasher that had not been run, and she needed to find that cup because it had tranquilizer in it, and she didn't want the investigators to locate it.
At some point, did your relationship start to dissolve?
Yes.
And can you tell the jury
Really?
why your relationship started to dissolve?
I had loaned her $5,000 because she told me that her mortgage was about to default and she was going to lose her house. And I had gotten paperwork in the mail for a signature loan for $5,000. So she asked me if she could borrow the money and said that she would make the payments on it and that it would help build my credit. So I did. I took the check, I signed it, I went to my bank, I deposited it, and I had a bank draft drawn up to Linda Stermer for the $5,000.
So you gave her then the entire $5,000?
I did.
And this was a loan in your name?
Yes.
And you did it why?
I didn't want her to lose her house.
And are you talking about the house that had burned? Or are you
Yes.
talking about it? Okay.
Linda, you gave up a ride or die friend right there. I mean, I know you're turning out to be a stank human being with all the sus, but that is a good friend right there. That is a friend that's like, okay, you know what? I'll help you out. I don't want you to lose your home. I know you have kids, that kind of thing. Miss Fox is a ride or die, but she's going to send you to jail. She is not going to be accessory after the fact. She's like, hell no, friendo. We don't do that. Like, don't you be putting me in orange. I don't look good in orange. I ain't gonna help you. And you run over your husband. I mean, at this point, why are we having a trial?
But it was your understanding she needed this money to keep that?
Yes.
And keep the property,
Yes.
is that right? Okay.
No idea.
And once you gave her the money, it was your understanding she was going to make payments?
Yes.
And did that occur?
No.
How did you find that out?
Several months later, one of the bills came, because I hadn't even been opening them, I was just giving them to her. A bill came and it said final notice, so I opened it and realized that not one single payment had been made.
And again,
So-
this was just in your name?
Yes.
So what did you do once you
Okay.
found this information out?
I confronted her at work.
Miss Fox, how the hell are you, do have a loan in your name? This is your name, okay? And you don't open any of the bills? You just take it on belief that, like, I love my friends, but if I had a credit thing in my name, I would be making sure, just open it, peeking, okay, $100, awesome. I am not sure. I do know that there were allegations, at least from Todd, allegedly, through to his family. So maybe not his mother, but his other people. There had been allegations that Linda was in a relationship with Kate Fox. So I was kind of thinking that that was going to be the, you know, surprise secret lover. I was not expecting Mr. Chris, but, you know, let's see. I don't know.
Work.
And where did you confront her at work at?
In the bathroom.
In the bathroom? And tell me what happened during that conversation.
She looked me in the eye and said she never borrowed money from me.
And what did you do?
I was angry. I yelled. I was very verbally abusive. I was very angry.
Because now you had to pay that $5,000 back.
Yes.
And what did Ms. Stermer do then when you became angry with her?
She said a couple of things before she walked out of the bathroom, like, stop touching me, get away from me. And then she went out of the bathroom and I followed her into the hallway and continued basically yelling at her.
Did you both get in trouble at work?
No,
You didn't get in any trouble?
no.
Was that the last time you talked to her?
That was
Panda Linda's face. I got fired. Kate was like, look, I told the boss exactly what the hell happened. And they were like, oh, I'd have snatched her out her hair. You're fine. You're fine. No, you do not. No, you don't mess with people's credit. That is no.
probably
Any substantial conversations after that?
not that I recall.
Did she ever pay you back?
No.
And that $5,000 right there just cost you a shit ton of tea. Linda, you should have worked an extra job, gotten, you know what, started an OnlyFans, because now that $5K that you stiffed that woman is gonna bury you back in jail. I hope you enjoyed your free time, because you are going right back to jail. Ride your horsey one more time, and then back to jail, okay? Get on that. Get on out of here.
Who's
Should
Steve
have paid
Benny?
the $5K.
My brother.
When was the last time you had a conversation with your brother?
My mom's funeral in 2001 until I introduced him to Linda in 2007.
And then you introduced him to Linda?
Yes. He had property and she needed a place for her horses to stay.
So you connected the two of
So
them?
I connected the two of them so they could make that happen.
Did you talk to your brother anytime after that?
No,
Have you seen him?
no.
How'd
Only
you
at
get it?
funerals and we don't have conversation.
So from 2001 to 2007, there was one conversation about connecting him with Linda?
Basically, my brother and I have never been close.
Anything else that Ms. Stermer told you over the course of your friendship about either the house or her relationship or Chris Williams that I failed to ask you about?
I don't think so.
Except for, no, I don't want no scrub. Scrub is a guy that can't get no love from me. Also, now we got bad blood. Because we used to be mad love. Again, Linda, that $5K just cost you your freedom. I hope you are happy. You are such a dumbass. You are deceptive. You don't pay people back and then you are confused when it bites you in the rear. Your keister is grass. Karma is a-comin'.
I have no further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Oh, thank you. I'll be annoyed instead of bored.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hello.
I just want to get a couple housekeeping things done from what a prior witness said. You and Linda, as I understand it, you started at Chemlink on the same day, June 5, 2006, sound right?
That sounds right. Sometime in that area.
Linda helped you get the job, right?
Yes.
You two worked the second shift?
Yes.
Right. I used to work in a factory once. Would second shift be 3 to 11?
Yes.
And Chris Williams, he worked the first shift, am I right?
Yes, he did.
What would the first shift be?
7 to 3.
Okay. He was a truck driver. Do you know whether he was in the same building as you
It was all one building.
in Schoolcraft?
Yes.
But he'd be leaving as you were coming on, correct?
Yes.
And you and Linda became almost like best friends, am I right?
I thought so.
Chris Williams, you're saying Linda had started having a relationship with him, all right?
That's what she told me.
Okay, do you remember when it started?
Specifically, no. Like I said, I don't know how long it had gone on before she mentioned it to me.
Do you recall? Well, it wasn't a big secret around Chemling, was it?
That they were seeing each other?
Yeah.
I don't think it was common knowledge. There were a handful of people that may have known.
And we'll return to that. Let me just make sure I get this timeline right. You start June of 2006 with Linda, right?
Yes.
Working the same shift, going to work, traveling every day, because you both work long ways from
Yes.
Schoolcraft?
Yes.
Then in Thanksgiving of 2006, November of 2006, there's this incident that happens that you told us about, right?
Yes.
Where you were the one who called the police, am I right?
Yes.
Because Linda, you said, I think said, she had a gun and give me one reason why I shouldn't shoot this guy to death.
Yes.
Right. That's what you told the Michigan State Police, you called them.
I called 911. Who I talked to, I couldn't say.
Okay. Let me show you, if I may approach, Your Honor. Thanks. You justified in a prior hearing, am I right?
Yes, I did.
Under oath?
Yes, sir.
Subject to the penalty of perjury?
Yeah,
And you swore to tell the truth?
I did.
And you did tell the truth? In that hearing?
Question?
And you did tell the truth?
Yes,
the question.
I did tell the truth.
Thank you. I want to turn your attention to page 192, if I may. Are you there?
Yes.
And there are a bunch of numbers, of line numbers on the sides. See that? Mm-hmm. Yes?
Yes.
Question was asked, you told the police that there was a gun involved in that incident. Ma'am, are you sure? Your answer was, they specifically asked me while I was on the phone if I knew if there were any firearms in the house. And I stated at that time, yes. See that?
She told me she had a gun.
Listen to my question.
Okay.
That was the question and answer you gave under oath, am I right?
Yes.
Okay. Then the question, that there was a firearm in the house or that there was a firearm being involved in the incident.
Not the face.
And your answer was, you told
Yes, I
them
looked
that
at
I
the
knew
one
there
in
were
the middle.
guns in the house. Did I read that correctly?
Sir.
Yes.
That
I
was
don't
your-
remember saying guns, but I did say there was a gun in the house.
That was your testimony under oath, right?
Yes.
And when you swore to tell the truth and you gave that answer to that question, it was the truth.
Yes.
And you knew that at that time, you need to make sure you're telling the police detailed information so they can help your friend.
I told them what she told me.
Okay. Isn't it true? There's nothing in here about,
Hopefully, they are
give me
okay.
one reason why I should shoot that guy. Why I shouldn't shoot him.
One,
Am I right?
what are you saying?
Nothing in that transcript that where you swore to tell the truth that I just read says anything that you told the police about Linda saying, give me
Sir.
one reason why I shouldn't shoot that guy. Am I right?
The boob chest has shrunk. Stop.
I thought that I had.
The question was, am I
That
right?
was some
In
aggressive,
the questions and answers that I read.
unconsensual cuddling right there. I will say the cats are not so happy that I am slightly deflating. Dingus used to be a little kitten, and the boob shelf is still somewhat substantial, but not enough to hold a full-grown Thor or Dingus. They are very upset. That is awesome. So great to hear it. I know sometimes blood sugars can be a little low at birth and they're all, they get you all Twitter pated and, it's most likely going to be okay, but you still have to wait for those extra appointments. Those suck.
She's trying to review the document you gave her.
I'm just asking her to look at those questions.
That is Thor. That's actually my oldest daughter's cat. He's all white. He's a rescue, and he is our lovey guy. The only problem is he likes to leave all of his fur on dark clothing. I think he senses when you're wearing something dark, and he just wants to cover it with fur. But he is good. He's a cuddle monkey. So is Dingus. Thor's the one that will always know when my leg is hurting, and God bless him. He loves him. He loves me, and he just wants to lay on the bad leg, and it's like, daggone it. He's like, I is helpful. I is giving you Thor time. And I'm like, Thor, you are 40 pounds of love that I can't handle on my bad leg. He's like, fine, I'll just crawl into your soul right about here.
Questions and answers.
Well, why don't you let her finish and then you can answer the question.
I did tell them that she told me she had a gun.
Okay. Thank you. At this time, this is November 2006. I want to speed forward a little bit to the timeline. In January of 2007, right at the time of the fire, you had been hospitalized, am I right?
Yes.
You had been hospitalized in a psychiatric facility,
Yes.
am I right? And you were diagnosed with severe depression.
Situational depression.
Your Honor, I guess I'm just going to object, unless this would affect her memory. I don't know if we really need to go into her medical history.
She was hospitalized for a psychiatric condition. It goes to what she remembers and what she's able.
Damn it. Screw you sideways with a cactus. A cactus? Are you kidding? She had depression. She got help. Now, as far as I know, depression, unless it's severely clinical, doesn't bother with your memory, doesn't make you, I don't know, run over your husband. But who knows? Oh, and JKD Buck says my mother-in-law's Chewini will jump in her lap and not move if her blood sugar is low. He knows it. Yeah, it's interesting.
Tell us now
I don't think
about the time of the fire.
that anything that happened to her affected her memory.
Relevance in 401.
I'm not saying the relevant, so I'll sustain that
Thank you,
objection.
Your Honor.
Then the fire happened, am I right?
Yes.
January 7th. And then you have told our jury that your friendship dissolved over a loan of $5,000. You remember that?
I do.
And that culminated in a big verbal argument.
Yes.
All right. That big verbal argument happened July 31 of 2007.
Yes.
All right. You had found out shortly after, or before that Linda wasn't making payments on this loan you'd made, right?
Shortly, very shortly before that.
Because you were hot, right?
Yes, I was angry.
Okay. And that's the reason your friendship dissolved.
There were a lot of things that led up to that, but that was the last straw.
Okay. Now, I want to direct your attention
Come on.
to your testimony. Again, you have that with you, right?
Can you behave?
Yes?
Yes.
Say yes.
All right.
Page 201, line 5 to 13.
Yes, he is pretty.
Let me know when you're on page 201
Line 5?
to 13.
I think he means heated. He just didn't know what the young people are saying when they beef now. I'm cool. Thor, if you kiss me, I swear.
Like I
mouth to
said, there
mouth,
were a lot of
we'll
things that
talk about
culminated
this.
in the relationship ending, but yes, I
married to
recall
another man.
testifying to that.
When you were interviewed by Detective Rout, and you gave this testimony under oath at that hearing, you were asked, isn't it true that you told Detective Rout, when you were interviewed by her on May 17, 2007, that your relationship with Linda Stermer pretty much dissolved
No, I
in
need to
February
use
of
the clicker,
2007?
sir.
After she had received so much sympathy from her coworkers, and Linda was transferred from second shift to first shift, and this angered her, you,
Yes,
because the plan had been for the two of you to move together to first shift. Isn't that true? And your answer was?
yes,
Yes. So your relationship dissolved in February of
you.
2007 because you were angry that she had gone to
I
first
wouldn't say it
shift.
dissolved at that point. We still had contact after that. Not nearly as often, and we were still working together.
That
Right, no, you're
fact
dead.
that
At the
she,
same
You are-
place.
you
the
need
fact
a
that
brush.
she
That's
went to,
older.
well, she was on first shift now and you were on second. True?
Yes,
Okay. Now, my question is, not only did it anger you, you felt betrayed, didn't you?
I started to realize how many lies she had told me.
Because you think she lied when she made you this promise, or you guys talked about, we're gonna go to first shift as a package deal?
Yes.
No, she was pissed off about the money. Everything else was just extra on the betrayal sandwich. Now, Miss Fox, I don't know why the hell you did not keep track of a loan that was in your damn name, or at least make her co-sign for it, or whatever the hell. I am trying to be objective. I do realize that Miss Fox has an axe to grind. I do realize that that is something that all of the jurors are going to really have to take into account when they look at at her testimony. How much of it do they think is honest, and how much do you think is just a woman trying to settle a score, revenge? I'd say 80-20 in my sort of estimation. While I say that this is a little piece that adds on to that puzzle, the important documents and the photos being in the shed is really a keystone for me. And I don't know why my mind keeps coming back to it, other than if I were going to save something from a house fire, that would be exactly the things I save. It wouldn't be, my wedding ring or anything like that. It'd be my people stuff. If I could get my hope chest out with all the kids' baby books in it, that's what I would take. So that being said, that's the part that really sticks out to me. The defense could pull it through. Maybe the defense has something up their sleeve, but these are just little pieces. And again, you do have to put in that she does have an axe to grind, that she's here to get some revengeation, and the jury is going to have to decide, how much they place on friend burned and how much they place on honest witness. And I think we'll be able to gauge that more with the jury question. So let's get to it.
And she never even gave me a heads up that she was changing or talking to anyone about changing shifts.
Do you understand that on January 7th, she lost her husband and her 3 teenage kids lost their father?
I know, I feel bad for her kids.
And so she had to take care of 3 teenage kids who are school-aged, right? Mm-hmm. Yes?
Yes.
And you understand that she asked management, can I change shifts so that I can accommodate the school schedule? True?
True.
And so you felt betrayed by that? As she lied to you?
And welcome, General T.
It sounds
Lovely
petty.
avatar.
That sounds petty.
Well.
And it was much bigger than that.
You did feel like she lied to you, right?
Often, yes.
No, about that.
About that specifically, yes.
Then, in May 11 of 2007, Linda accused you of spreading rumors at work that she had killed Todd. Isn't that right?
I may have talked to somebody about that, yes.
Yeah, you may have talked to a woman named Jen, a coworker.
Possibly.
Well, possibly. Let's look at if I can refresh your recollection. If I may approach, Your Honor?
Oh, for heaven's sake, poor. That's my bad leg. I love you, but you're going to have to go down. We have talked about
This.
just covered in capital.
Can you read that asterisk paragraph? You don't read it yourself.
That sounds right.
Refresh your memory now, ma'am?
I don't remember who Jen was, but yeah.
Refreshes your
I know I talked to someone, I just didn't remember the name.
Okay, that you were accused by Linda of telling another coworker by the name of Jen that Linda killed her husband. True?
Yes, because I believe that's what
Excuse me,
happened.
ma'am, you can understand how someone might be upset when a coworker is spreading rumors at work that she was a murderer. You can.
Okay, so this is starting to look edge toward a little bit more petty, but again, this woman basically robbed her of $5,000 plus interest, plus, refinancing or whatever, late fees that were involved with it being a final notice. Then she gets to transfer. Then everyone's feeling sorry for Linda, but Kate knows other sides of the story. So while the defense is really painting this as petty, and look, it's a lot petty. it's not unwarranted. It's not, that she's going out and making assumptions on no basis. Again, I think it would be pretty common knowledge that the state police, that the local police are continuing to look into this, that they haven't classified it as anything. People are going to start talking. So whether Kate started the rumor or it started organically, the longer that the insurance took to cover, the longer that, the police wouldn't rule anything, that cloud may, or that, general suspicion may have started with Kate Fox, but it would generally grow. I mean, the family of Todd Stermer was already pretty much what happened, and Linda wouldn't tell them what happened. She got too upset. And I get that the defense is using the poor widow, she had children. So I'm going to tell a story. Story time with Mama Mo. There is only so much you can play the effing widow with children card with me, because I don't know if you guys might not know this if you're new to the channel. I lost my first husband when my oldest two daughters were 18 months and 5 months old. I was 24. We were losing the house. I didn't have a job, hadn't worked in about a year. And I was left by myself at 24 to move back into my mom's house. 3 weeks later, I got a job. At the end of that month, I had rented our own house. And I got my girls set up, and we did for ourselves. So don't you sit here and use that poor widow bullshit with me. Because I was a 24-year-old going to get 5 death certificates at the Vital Records office. And I can tell you, yeah, it super sucks. But you know what you do? You pull on your big girl panties because you have kids at home and you have to deal with it. Now, I am not going to lie, y'all. I have not grieved yet. I have just started to grieve, because your brain does really great things where you basically don't have time to grieve. And now I am, which is flippin' flapjack ridiculous. I hate feelings. They should not be allowed. This is not logical. It's been 17 damn years. I should be fine with this. I shouldn't be feeling any of these feelings. So there is not a holy sainthood you get if you lose a spouse. There is not, a poor me victim complex that generally happens. Generally, like JKD Buck's mom did. She was 36, had 4 kids, and, she got up and did. That's what moms do. Linda did for herself. And that really pisses me off. Thor. Be good. I have to use my hands to sometimes touch the mouse. I cannot pet you all the time. And KLF, I was widowed. We weren't legally married at 34 and my mom at 30. Yeah, it's just, this is one of my hot button things. Like, yes, grief sucks, and this one, Linda lost someone, but there is so much difference. There was a choice I had to make when my first husband passed, and there was something that I kind of insisted on with everyone in my family, and we had a very strained relationship. My husband and I were not living together when we separated, or when he passed. But I would not, and tried not to. In fact, I didn't say much about their father to them because I could not say anything nice. But I did not allow anyone to bad talk him around them, because that's still their father. And when they need to know more of the reality, I've shared more of the reality of kind of our marriage and his struggles. But this constant trash talking that Linda has done about Todd really pisses me off. Stop. No, honey, I can't deal. My leg can't handle it right now. Sorry. I love you, but you're being a little amazing. Well, thank you, Kiwi Green, but it happens, KLF survived. JKD Buck's mom raised a really cool guy who hangs out in my chat. We all have our things. So maybe you didn't get widowed at 24, but you had something else. And that's the thing, is that we all have these struggles, and you can either use them to be a victim, or you can use them that when the time comes and you have to help another friend walk through grief, or you have to, you know, give a perspective. It gives you so much grace. It gives you wisdom. But that's one of my bugbears. Again, I don't generally like shout it out. I don't, you know, most people don't know unless they ask, oh, where's, you know, so and so, or, you know, that kind of thing. Because it doesn't define me. It's something that happened in my life. And I hate it when people use these labels to invoke sympathy for performative grief. And it's a whole thing. I really don't like this poor widow thing, because a lot of people try to do it to me, and I just didn't have time for it. I, honest to God, got so busy, I just started having kids and that kind of thing. But, you know, it really, really just, you know. And Miss Tom, you grieve the way you did. There's no timeline. In the past 9 years, I've lost my home in a fire. My husband 5 years later. I'm so sorry. It's been 4 years since I lost my home and husband. It sucks. Grieve when you grieve. You got this. Yeah, I have been letting the grief in. It's been weird because I don't like feelings. Like, feelings don't make logical sense to me. Like, how can you feel happy, angry, sad, hangry? It doesn't make sense. I can feel one feeling at a time. It's like that Up movie when they went happy, sad. I was like, pass. Just pass. Thorbert, am I getting ready to have a flare? What? You are just... Is it supposed to rain? He is acting like I'm going to have a flare or something. It's really... I'm like, no. No, no, no. We are not doing this today. All right, let's get back. I just thought I would go on that aside to maybe give you a little bit of a reason why this whole poor widow thing is really starting to piss me off. Because she's still a woman. She still did craptastic things. She still was a crappy person. You can be a widow and a crappy person. Two things can be true at the same time.
You can imagine how upsetting that might be, true?
Sure.
So that's May 11, and then right after that, you and Kathy Ilg get this idea of you want to go to the police to tell the police things, but you don't want it to come back on you. Is that fair?
Yes.
So you told Kathy, I need you to make a phone call.
Well, I didn't tell Kathy. I discussed it with Kathy, and Kathy offered to call them and have them come to me.
Okay, so Kathy offered to be the go-between between you and the police, am I right?
Just for that incident.
In May of 2007.
Yes.
Then you had Officer Rout come to your work. Am I right to interview you?
Yes.
Even though at that time you lived about a mile from the MSP post. True? Mm-hmm. Yes?
Yes.
And you also lived about 5 minutes from the Van Buren County Sheriff's Office, right?
Yes.
You could have certainly gone down there. Yes?
The point was to avoid conflict.
You can tell Thor is a male cat. Of all the boy cats, it's the boob shelf. He's like, I need double D boob pillow. And I'm like, well, so do I. That's what I've decided I'm going to make a comfort breast pillow, and not for nursing. It's just a huge pair of honkers on a pillow and you can just nestle your head in. Because honestly, it looks real comfy. I'm just saying, I'm throwing it out there. Double D, move over my pillow, double D pillow here. Adjustable size. Look, I'm just saying. And as a woman who nursed look, my youngest, most feral was, he nursed for forever. Look, he might have been nursing until he was 4, if given the chance. But every time I would be anywhere, he had to put his hand on my boob. And I'm like, would you stop with the boob touch? And he's like, I don't know. Oh, General T, I am so sorry. I just lost my niece 2 days ago from asthma. She donated all her organs at 18. Well, thank you so much to your, sibling who made that awful, awful choice, and that other people will live. It's just, thank you so much for your family. I know there's going to be so many families that are blessed because of your choice, but it doesn't make it suck any less. All right. Y'all are going to make me cry. I don't like crying. Damn it. I am so sorry, General T. And if there's anything I can do, let me know. And thank you so much for sharing your niece with so many people that get to live. And she will live on through their memories and through you remembering her.
With people at work that were feeling sympathy for her.
Okay. So that's why you had the police
Come to me.
come to work for this big
Yeah, that
show that
doesn't
the
make
police are
sense.
talking to you while you wanted to avoid conflict with the people at work.
Yes.
Is that right?
That's exactly right.
Then we have this issue that happened because of the loan, right, where you confronted Linda in the bathroom
Yes.
at work, right?
Yes.
And you got verbal,
I did.
but it didn't get physical.
I never touched her.
Never touched her. Yet you were convicted for assault.
I've pled no
Excuse me.
contest because she had already convinced the police that I had done that.
The question is this: you were convicted of assault.
I don't really know what the point of talking about convictions is, if it's relevant or not relevant.
She already
It has nothing
said-
to do with truth.
She said she never laid a hand on it, Linda.
Is this out of this incident?
Yes.
I'll allow it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I guess I'm also then concerned that assault can mean also not,
Right.
it can also mean put in fear of. It doesn't necessarily prove that there was any sort of battery. So I also would ask for an instruction on that for the jury so that they understand what an assault and battery is. And it's simply just.
Your Honor, I don't know if we need a speech instead of a legal objection.
Okay, there's
Oh, shut the hell up, Doogie Butthole. Like, seriously, the F, dude. You are trying to bring in and disparage this woman who didn't smack the ever-living snot out of Linda for costing her $5,000 plus interest. Because, let me tell you, if that had happened in a Waffle House, there would be a weave snatched. Linda, I would, when you go back to prison, I would keep your hair tighter, because that's a lot of, I'm just saying. Oh, okay, snarky butt.
It's been a
Let's
legal
go.
objection. In light of the prosecution reminding me of the elements of the assault, I find it more confusing than
Well, let me
relevant.
see if I can clarify this.
So I'm not allowing you to go into that anymore.
Okay. Right after this incident, you contacted the police again, Detective Rout. Am I right?
Yes.
All right. Now,
Denied.
you said that Linda Stermer asked you to close out her post office box, am I right?
Clean out her post
No.
office box.
And you closed it out though, didn't you?
I don't remember if I took everything out or if I actually closed the box.
You are
I think I
welcome.
originally.
And hopefully we can just stream and you can kind of let your mind deal with the petty express and not everything else. Sometimes that's what we need in the moment. And whatever you're feeling, you have permission to feel it. I think we all think grief needs to look a certain way. And, you know, we don't realize that grief is getting so busy with work or, you know, avoiding, you know, or it can be crying hysterically, it can be wailing, it can be keening, but it can also be, you know, just, oh, it is Lord of the Rings. I'm so excited. So I finally have a bucket list goal. Now, I've shared this with Mornings with Mo, but here's my wish list. Before I pass, I am going to meet Noel from the Great British Baking Show, and we're going to have a sweater off. He's going to bring his crazy sweaters. I'm going to bring my crazy sweaters, and we are just going to have a blast. Like, not in a smexy way, not at all. Like, he just seems like the coolest friend I have never met. And so I just need to make that happen. When I win the lottery, there will be signs. I will be the first American host of the Great British Bake Off with Noel.
always said that I closed the box, so I assume that's what I did. It's been a long time.
Understood. Closing the box means closing the account because she didn't want
Right.
Todd to find out.
But I, like I said, was with her when she opened that post office box.
You weren't a signer on the box. It was her box.
I had a key.
She had no hold over that box. That box Oh Lord, I needed that. I needed that so bad. Thank you, defense attorney. This is the first time I have ever liked you. Thank you. Also phrasing, sir, and that's what she said.
You had a key,
Just to
and
cover
every
all my
now and then
bases,
she'd
and
give
you
you a
could get
key
it.
for that post office box, and if you needed to get stuff for her, you did.
Yes.
Are you telling our jury?
We're going to have a make the weirdest sweater shirt. I know he's probably going to win, but I would totally do a sweater off.
The U.S. Post Office in Pawpaw?
Yes.
That the federal government, the U.S. Post...
Wait, her box was in Pawpaw? This shit just cannot, truth is stranger than fiction, but my brain just constructed her box was in Pawpaw, her heart was with Chris, her bitch was Kate, and this guy is a douche. I don't know, I'm working on the song, it'll be great. It's called My Box is in Pawpaw. It's gonna be a little ditty about Jack and Diane. Oh my gosh, live in Indiana enough and you will hate John Cougar Mellencamp. Every single loop of a soft rock station includes John Cougar.
Postal Service allowed you...
No, I have a bunch of crazy sweaters and there's this guy I think he's a British actor. I don't think he just does the Great British Bake Off. I think he does other things, but he's pretty good. I like him. He is a dick. He's doing his job. He could just do it less dickish. If he were in a John Hughes movie, his dad would own the ski lodge, but the scrappy little, car guy would win the great ski off. And he'd just be at the end with this douchey look on his face. How'd he win? He doesn't have no monies. That's basically who this dude is, in my head.
To close out a box for a third party.
I don't think she'd have any knowledge of what the post office is doing. I think she can talk about her actions and what she did. I don't think she knows what the post office did.
This is
Ooh, I'm gonna
impeachment,
have
this
to
is
watch
cross-examination. I'm allowed to get into this.
If you lay a foundation.
Yes.
That she knew.
Have you ever opened a post office box before? Ever?
Thank you.
Yes, once in South Haven.
And when in South Haven, did you ever close that box?
Yes.
And when you open the box, you have to show ID, don't you?
I don't remember. That would have been in the 80s.
And you wouldn't know if you just simply say, I'm Kate Fox, I'd like to open a box. And they give you one.
If I had to show ID, I'm sure I did.
And you have to fill out some type of form or application. They don't just give you a key, right?
Yes, you do have to fill out a form. I just paid for 1 year of rent on my post office box. Yes, they do ask for ID. I don't know if they did in the 80s. I was sort of, according to the LDS Church, I was in my celestial soul form, so I don't really know what was going on in the 80s, at least the first mid-bit. Not quite sure. So, cannot vouch for 80s post office, procedure.
Right.
When you closed your box, you had to prove it was you. True?
Your Honor, I prefer Pete to ask her if she remembered, because it appears
Your Honor,
that
we don't need to
she's
speak.
struggling with her memory on what actually occurred. Putting words in her mouth.
That's specific.
Ma'am? Everyone? Can't talk at the same time.
Ma'am, we need to know the truth about your box. You can't handle the truth, proceeds to drop trow. I don't know, I'd watch that Jack Nicholson movie. I'm just saying.
Okay. So
Thanks, Jen.
what is the question right now, Mr. Mueller?
Question is, well, let's say, did you ever testify under oath that the U.S. Postal Service allowed you to close a postal box for another person?
I'll allow that question for
Yes.
impeachment.
You testified to that under oath,
Yes.
but you don't know if they actually would allow you to do that, right?
I believe they did.
Okay. Do you recall
I know I cleaned the box out that day.
Do you recall showing ID to the postal office that day? You remember
I
cleaning out the
don't
box?
remember whether I...
Thank you, Sarah Adams. I don't know. I went on this tangent last night since I changed my schedule to kind of have more time with Mr. Mo at nights. And we can only, look, y'all, our marriage has come to the point where he realizes I only watch things about dead bodies and he only watches things with Tom Hanks. So we have settled on the Great British Baking Show. I just love it. I don't want to cook there. Look, that looks all Twitter pating and anxiety inducing. I want to be the person that's like, oh, sweetie, you're going to be great. And thank you so much, Squid Pro Quo, for being a member for 8 months. That is almost a full term, member. We go by trimesters here. Well, you know.
I had to show ID or not.
You don't recall what you had to do, am I right?
Right.
Now, this issue of a coffee cup that Linda talked to you about, you needed to get in, right? Mm-hmm. Yes?
Yes.
Because she wanted, I think you told us, that the coffee cup had tranquilizer in,
Yes.
right? But you didn't give any tranquilizer to Todd
She told me
Stermer.
she didn't give it to him because she found out that he had already taken something for sleep.
Okay, he took something for sleep. Are you aware, do you have any evidence to corroborate for our jury that Linda Stermer told you any of this?
No, I don't.
Are you aware that Dr. Markey, the medical examiner, has testified Todd Stermer didn't have any drugs in his system? None, except caffeine.
Your Honor, that's not correct statement of what was.
No, what he did have, and I know I've explained this before, let me get my whiteboard of truth. Oh my goodness, Thor is literally laying on top of Dingus, and Dingus is dead asleep. Like, I not care, I is asleep. All right. So with this, with the toxicology, there is a little bit of conjecture that goes into it. Now, Todd had caffeine in blood, in pee. So in blood, he just had caffeine. Now, the medical examiner testified that your blood is going to clear any drug quicker than your kidneys. So basically, your kidneys filter out all of the drugs. And in his urine, he had basically hydro and the metabolites of it. So sometime in the last couple days, he had taken some hydrocodone and it showed up in his urine. So basically, the defense is trying to say, oh, he only had caffeine. Now, there was some hydrocodone that had fully processed through his body. Now, they didn't get him for weed or anything else. I don't know. Now, Linda did say that he did do marijuana, but not as much as he did during the first part of their marriage, I guess. That part is a little bit if I were a detective, if using logic, reasoning, and everything I understand about the universe, what I think happened, she incapacitated him somehow because she had to pour gasoline on him. Now, I don't know about anyone else. I'm a terrible sleeper. I am a light sleeper. I wake up all the time. I fidget. I have insomnia. So I would literally need to be knocked out to not notice things. That being said, she probably then, and I have two views on this. She either left him, had stuff soaked with gasoline very close to the fireplace or very close to some sort of fire element. I do think she would have gotten burnt had she, lit it herself. I think she kind of let it set there until the fumes got up, and then it naturally went because there was already a fire in the fireplace. So even the fire investigator, fire marshal, not Bill, was talking about how gasoline doesn't actually ignite. It's the vapors. That being said, the defense is doing their jobs. I just wish they could do it less dickishly and with a quickness. I have never seen Mosey outside the South this bad.
It's actually found by Dr. Markey, there were drugs found in his system, and he listed them out on the toxicology.
In his system is in the blood, active in his system. Council knows that.
I think asking her about what the doctor found is inappropriate.
No, I just asked if she was aware of it.
No, I wasn't aware of it.
Man, do you think?
Well, I'm glad I'm sorry, I'm on a Kate mode. And Catherine Boysen, I'm glad. I enjoy this streaming time from you, Mo. Only Jeff streamed at this time of daylight here in Germany. Most of the streams are in deepest night or early morning and only on replay. This is the only time that works for me. This, and I'm glad that you guys are liking this because this is giving me a lot less anxiety because I can't do streams like Baker's. I can't do, all day. I have other stuff. I have other commitments, kids, the house, all of that. So this works for me, and I'm glad that you guys are okay with me rambling, taking my time, and, not being current on the trials, because I was really worried about that. I was like, oh gosh, is anyone going to want to watch, a trial that's, past dated? But this is giving me a chance to relax, because you always feel like, oh my gosh, there's this trial, and I can't be 12 places, but it's making me think, okay, we got this. We will work on petty time. We will be fine.
Think you're a truthful person?
Yes, I do.
You think you're a deceitful person?
No.
Well, wouldn't it be a little bit sneaky when you went with Kathy Ilg to call the police?
I'm going to object to this. I don't understand what this line of
It goes right to credibility.
I
It's
think
argumentative.
maybe a different word besides sneaky. It looks like you're calling for truth and deceit.
Would it be deceptive that you went through a third party to talk to the police?
It didn't feel like it at the time.
Not to you.
No, it would be logical. Again, she laid out her logic. It's sound. It's got reasoning. She didn't want to be the person to call the police to initiate that contact. Why she had the police come to her work if she didn't want, all of the workers to know this, that she was talking to the police, that doesn't make sense. But again, it's more of an emotional thing. It's not, maybe she was, again, still pissed off, still irritated, and just wanted to, lay it out.
You.
Not to me, no.
So you don't feel like you're deceptive or untruthful?
I felt like I needed to talk to them.
This question is, you don't feel like you're untruthful, right?
No,
And you don't feel like you're deceptive, right?
no.
You're not asking to answer it. I'd ask to move on.
There's an objection asked and answered. I'm sustaining.
Thank you. Would your siblings agree with you?
Not my brother, but I don't have a relationship with my brother.
Someday.
My sister would tell you that
And
I'm
would be,
honest.
and that would be Steve, right?
Yes, it would.
Steve Benny.
Yes.
Thank you. You have 1 second.
Okay, Kate Fox bringing in her brother. I think someone was moving stuff, but again, it sounds like she and her brother have a very extremely estranged relationship. It sounded like, according to my notes, she hadn't talked to her brother since 2002 before she reached out to him in 2007 to introduce him to Linda because he had property for the horses. So if there is family drama, family tension, I'm going to find it extremely shitty of the defense attorneys if they bring in her brother as a witness for their defense. Yeah, I feel like Steve Benny is going to be part of the defense. I truly dislike bringing in other people's dirty laundry to make yourself look better. I do think that Linda is going to have to testify. I do think Linda is going to have to testify because you are going to have to make sense to the jury why you ran this man over. Because it doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense. So Linda is, I think, going to have to testify. And if her defense is this guy who is Kate's brother, that they obviously have a strained relationship, he said that she's a lying whore. I mean, that's not going to be much. I think Kate Fox I think she came here with the knowledge that she was going to be raked over the coals, that they were going to try to call her deceptive, that they were going to bring up the assault charge, all of this. I think she came in knowing, and that's why she brought her lawyer. That's why she's probably looking very standoffish, kind of queenie. But she has her armor on. She knew that she was going to be, confronted with all that. Well, I don't know if he's going to say that. I'm just saying it seems that they have an extremely estranged relationship. Even Kate said in her testimony they only meet during funerals. So again, it just again seems like bringing up irrelevant things when the defense should be focusing on, if the state doesn't have the case, focus on the state. Focus on those actual physical pieces of evidence that don't make sense. Oh, a sticky note of bitch from Linda.
Mueller was asking you about your prior testimony and whether you had talked to them about whether she said she had a gun.
Yes.
No.
And do you recall looking at the testimony then? I'm going to actually have you go through all of your answers on that.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, go ahead and just pick up and start on your.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, so I'm going to have you read to me, because I believe he was concentrating on particular lines.
Okay.
And so I'm going to have you read from 15, line 15, which I believe he was talking to you about. And I'm going to actually have you continue down to line 24. If you could just read that. The same page you had, I believe it's 192.
All right, the question, you didn't tell the police and things. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I want her to read because he made her read the two statements and he excluded another statement that she made.
So, okay. Question, you
And this is something that MLS used to talk about. You know, you need a monster. The defense needs something to blame this on. So right now, it does seem like they're shifting between, you know, Linda is the struggling widow victim. She's a victim of DV. She's getting away from this controlling husband. But they're also, again, negating all of that with, well, Linda never said he was grapey. Linda never said, you know, there were no signs. It does seem like they're playing both sides of the fence, and I don't know what they're trying to do here. And Antediluvian Fire, I do cover some entertainment stuff. I have 6 children, so I am working on freeing up more time, but right now my time is, this winter hasn't been great. I do have some nerve issues, so everything's been moving slower. Hopefully I will be getting to be able to produce more come around June. Things will be changing a little bit, so I should have more free time to do more streams and set things up. I hope. And I might be back in my own room, which would be awesome. Awesome, awesome. Chucky, there have been both allusions to the fact that she has claimed to many people that Todd laid hands on her, but the defense and the state have also pointed out that there have been no, you know, DV sort of records. Now, the police were called out to a house that they used to live in, and according to Linda, now this is according to Linda, basically because the police couldn't ascertain who was the, you know, aggressor and who was the, you know, aggressee, they were a little confused. So it was going to be like a Sarah Boone Jorge situation where both of them went into custody, and they decided not to because the kids were at home. Antediluvian Fire, I know that I believe Emily D. Baker is covering it. I think the lawyer you know is covering it, and there's someone else, and I can't remember them, and it'll come to me in about 5 minutes, so give me a chance. And Runkle, there we go. And Runkle got the, got an award for being an elf and an awesome YouTuber. Yeah, I want to get into the Blake Lively stuff. It's just, holy fazolies, is that a lot. I am having to, this winter I've had to be very honoring of my body in a way that I didn't, it stopped me in a way I hadn't before. So I was like, holy cow, I'm just hanging on with the Petty Express some days.
You didn't tell the police in Thanksgiving 2006 that Miss Stermer had a shotgun and was threatening her husband, did you? Answer, yes, I did. You told the police that there was a weapon involved. I told them there was an assault, that she told me she had a gun.
Thank you. So that's the full and complete answer that you were trying to give, is that
Yes.
correct? And that's from the same page that Attorney Mueller had you read from.
Yes.
Do you know if everybody worked like in different roles and at ChemLink? Do you know if drivers were on the same shift as people on the line?
I think they had a few people from each department on both shifts, but I'm not positive about that. The drivers may have only worked in the morning. I don't know.
So you don't know?
I didn't know.
KLF, my brain is fogging out, but I know he got a big YouTube award because he's entertaining and awesome. I love him. He's so smart and Canadian and nice and an elf. And he's so cool about us calling him an elf, which is mean-ish. but he has that glorious hair. What is it with Nick and Runkle having this glorious mane of hair, and I have to buy a curling iron so it'll curl for me? Just not fair. Women spend so much time on our hair, and men are just like, and it's Fabio. It's unfair. I'm calling an unfair foul.
I didn't know him personally.
You only know what your shift was.
Right.
But you don't know what driver's shifts or what other employees' shifts are.
No.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I
Viva
guess I
Frey
just want
has
to
clear hair.
understand, the dynamics at work after the fire were not good. Is that correct?
Yes.
There was a little tension,
Yes.
there was stress,
Yes.
and you wanted the police to come to you versus you reaching out to the police.
Yes.
And why did you want that?
Because I had to continue to work with the people that I worked with. And like I said at the time, they were very sympathetic of her situation.
And you didn't want to look like the bad guy,
Right.
but you felt this information needed to get to the police?
Yes.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, good Lord. not
Ma'am,
you
because
again.
everybody was sympathetic with Linda Stermer, who lost her husband, you were upset about that?
I wasn't upset.
Look, you can be a widow and a cunt. It's kind of a thing. Being a widow doesn't change your intrinsic personality. If you are a taker, if you are, unsympathetic to everyone around you, if you make things about you, if you suffer main character syndrome, you are still going to be that person. Good, bad, white, black, gay, straight, furry, no matter who you lost, you are still the person that you are. You are simply grieving. So this widow thing, this draping her in the veil of widowhood is so gross. Especially, when you caused your widowness allegedly. Yeah, it's a skin suit. It's a skin suit. She's a zombie. It's just, it's gross.
Sad about it. I just didn't want to end up on the wrong end of it. I didn't want them to see me as the enemy.
Okay. But
I didn't feel the same way that everyone else did, no.
Okay. And that's why you had the police come to you instead of you going to the police, so you're away from the employees that you didn't want to be looked bad upon?
Damn it, when I agree
I don't
with
understand
this
your
man.
Yeah,
question.
bad question. Sometimes I do that. Instead of going to the Van Buren County Sheriffs who are 5 minutes from your house, or the Michigan State Police, which is a mile from your house, you had them go about a half hour to your work, am I right?
Yes.
And that was, you were afraid that the employees would see you were talking about Linda, and everybody felt bad about Linda.
Yes.
And that's why you had them come to you at work,
Exactly.
instead of you going to them, right?
Yes.
And then finally, when you were asked those questions on 190,
Okay, that doesn't make logic sense. It really doesn't. But again, we don't always make logic sense. We're humans. We are all simply aliens who have totally different perspectives trying to talk to other aliens who have completely different ways that they speak. It is crazy. We all have our own languages. We all have our own perceptions. And every day we have to go out and try to figure out how to navigate this world with, everyone's perceptions, everyone's traumas, everything, and just try to communicate in a way that's kind and loving and open. Unless you're a total butthole, then I don't know, you just spew crap everywhere. This man is a dick. But yeah, it doesn't make logical sense. Logical sense would dictate that she would just go to the police by herself because it's not like Linda's stalking her. Having them come to the company is a bit defeatist of the whole anonymity point. That being said, people aren't logical. I love Sailor Moon. It is completely problematic in so many levels, but I love it. And who wouldn't love a cartoon in which an attack is literally, and I quote, gentle screaming uterus. Translated correctly, that is an attack in Sailor Moon. And how could you not love a show like that? That being said, Mr. Mo does not love it and would not approve a Sailor Moon Futurama master bedroom.
2, you see that? Mm-hmm. Yes?
I'm familiar, yes.
Okay. You didn't tell the police on Thanksgiving 2006 that Ms. Stermer had a shotgun and was threatening her husband, did you? And your answer was, yes, I did. Then you told that to the police, that there was a weapon. I told them there was an assault, that she told me that she had a gun. Then you were asked some follow-up questions, right? The ones I read you. and you were pressed a little more. You told the police that there was a gun involved in the incident, ma'am, are you sure? They specifically asked me while I was on the phone if I knew there were any firearms. She's with me at 192 and 193.
Okay. Is there a specific inconsistent statement you're trying to
Yes.
get at? Okay.
I'm just pressing, she got pressed and then admitted the truth under oath that you told them that I knew there were guns in the house, and that was your testimony under
So the
oath.
guns is where you're getting hung up? Because I told him she had a gun.
Excuse me. You said that I knew there were.
I kind of like her. Look, she came in, she knew who she was dealing with, and she is not going to do it. She knows the, word games. She knows it. Again, this woman got caught for assault for going after Linda for, basically stealing $5,000 from him. Yes, we can. We're going to baconate because petty respects petty.
You told them that I knew there were guns in the house, and that was your testimony under
So
oath.
the guns is where you're getting hung up? Because I told him she had a gun.
Excuse me. You said that I knew there were guns in the house under oath, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. I don't have anything else. Thank you.
You told him that because
Wolf, you totally nailed it. Mic drop. Not.
Linda told you she had a gun in the house.
Yes.
Chucky says, my kid used to watch Sailor Moon, and now she watches it and mostly horror movies. I had zero influence on her change of movie plot choice, I promise. Look, it is campy, it is weird, it's just pure escapism. And everyone has their thing. When things get bad and they can escape, it's just been my thing my entire life. Sailor Moon. She's a spaz who's a superhero who loves noodles, her man, and is just spastastic. She's kind of me if I were, a reincarnated moon princess with special powers and a talking cat. Still waiting on the talking cat. But I want Salem from Sabrina the Teenage Witch, not Luna. Luna is bossy.
And what's your objection?
Form, leading.
Oh, wow, it's already been covered though.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I just want to be clear, I think it got lost in the translation here.
Oh, can we take a moment to appreciate cleavage? Hello, ma'am. We are looking hot smexy today. Someone got here and she was like, hot damn, I look good. We all have to have days where we are like, hot damn, I look good. Not every day. We get full of ourselves. Oh my gosh, Killer Clowns from Outer Space is the best movie ever. I don't know, but I don't have a gaydar. I really don't. Look, I loved, Bryan Adams, ew, it's embarrassing, and George Michael's. Although I will say, George Michael, rest in peace. You looked awesome when you were in that little suit that looked like a cop in booty shorts. Good job on the squat, sir.
Did you want it to appear the police were coming to you instead of you going to the police?
Yes.
And that's what you were trying to accomplish?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. I have no further questions.
I thought George Michael's passed away from something. Let me look that up. I love the tangents we get on. Oh, he did die. That's so sad. He died December 25th, 2016, 53. Aw, gone too soon. I mean, to be fair, I super de duper thought, Faith came out right when I was discovering, I had feelings for boys. And, that video was all the spicy. My mom would turn the channel when it would come on MTV, when I was allowed to watch MTV. Ooh. I'm just saying, Faith is a spicy video.
Jury, do you have any questions of her? None? Okay, thank you, ma'am. You're excused from your subpoena. Any objection to excusing her?
I wonder what to make of them not having any questions for her. They might have already decided in their heads that, this is more of a jealous person they're going to take it for what it's worth. I don't know. That's interesting. I thought they would have a lot of questions for her. But we are going to skip right along the afternoon break. And we are into Dardita Gordon. And for those of you who don't remember, Dardita was... So Linda Stermer was put in jail in the local jail, not the prison. I always forget there's a difference. But also, I need to talk to Dardita's parents. What the hell kind of name is Dardita? Now watch it be like a family name and I am disrespecting her grandma. But I don't get Dardita as
Back on the record, counsel, any matters to address before we bring in the jury?
Let the jury know how we're handling this witness and how we're proceeding.
Oh, we were gonna have to do the jury instruction too. Remember we had that about it.
Yeah.
We were gonna do that same jury instruction you read on. You were gonna delete maybe the last sentence or something.
Yeah, delete the last sentence. And then I'm just wondering that the jury's going to have probably a question on why we're leading this in.
So what they are doing, what the lawyers are doing, is they're going to have special instructions. Both the defense and the state kind of hammer out what they would like to be the jury to be told. So what the state is probably going to say is that the state and the defense and everyone, you know, this is a witness, you know, for a more for to try to get what Linda had said. You have to judge the truthiness of it for yourself. That's basically going to be the gist of it. You place whatever value on this that you place. It is a prison, you know, inmate confession, all that. So that's basically what they're doing.
Say she's unavailable, that's what the rules say.
No, this is the wrong one. Let me, I'm trying to find. Which is the one, because counsel, can you approach?
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
And the gentleman that I just flashed on screen is Todd Stermer's brother. So Todd Stermer's brother did testify yesterday or in the last stream that there were some, you know, there was some friction in the family because Todd was chronically asking for money or they were behind, and money that was given seemed to or appeared to be going to Linda's hobby of collecting these horses and not to the further construction of the house. So there was a lot of friction in the family prior to the fire. And I don't know that Todd mentioned his suspicions of cheating to anyone in the family. The mother didn't know, and the brother wasn't asked it, so I don't know. Now, I am trying to figure out which side the daughter is sitting on. She does seem very anxious. Her shoulders are really up. I just want to give her a hug. Okay, although I am a terrible hugger. Like, I want to help people. I want to make people feel better and comfort them, but I always end up humaning so badly that my hugs are like, pat you on the head. How long does this hug last? Are we married now? I'm a terrible person. I don't do good hugs, but I will sit with you while you sit through hell. She did steal Mama's blue eyeshadow. Must be a family thing. Maybe it was an heirloom. Like, this is Mary Kay Aqua Surprise. Guard it with your life. Teal Dreams. Lagoon. She's a looker. Yeah, when you have a lot of personal space boundary things, it's hard to know what other people are comfortable with. So you end up feeling more awkward. I'm not probably going to spoon. Blue Lagoon. I was thinking of names for like Mary Kay eyeshadows. Like Blue Lagoon, Aqua Surprise. Aquamarine Dreams.
And jury, I'm going to give you an instruction. It's similar to one you've already heard, but it relates to upcoming testimony. You will hear testimony that Ms. Stermer was in jail on or about June 2009. The parties stipulate that she was in jail for this offense. You must not consider this as evidence of her guilt. The fact that she was in jail must not impact your deliberations or verdict in any way. Thank you, Mr. Blair.
Yes, Your Honor. At this point in time, we intend to read into the record the prior testimony of Dardita Gordon. Counsel in this matter will be handled by myself and Mr. Kelly, from what I understand, and then we intend to have Heather Fisk from our office read the testimony of Dardita Gordon into the record.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, she is deceased. Yes, she is unavailable because she is now deceased.
Oh, that's terrible. Well, I hope her family's okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
solemnly swear affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the
No,
truth,
it
and the whole truth, and
does.
nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Ooh, we got like just a gaggle of hotties. Her little, the judge's clerk is so cute, fun, and fresh. And then I am just, okay, I know this is a mom thing. I know I probably sound like I'm ancient, but I am so impressed with all the outfits that the young ladies in the court have picked out. I noticed that, you know, the defense helper, maybe paralegal, and the state's helper. I have no idea. I'm so proud that girls know how to dress, because every time I go out or I see my daughter, she is in a crop top of some form. I'm hoping she'll grow out of it. But I would really love to see my daughters in full shirts at some point, just once, just like Amish. Look, I'm not ready for my little girls to be adult women people with adult women parts. Look, and they trick you. So you don't remember that your daughter is a knockout the entire winter because she's wearing big hoodie, and then it comes summertime and she's in a string bikini, and you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna need you to wear this t-shirt that says my mom is crazy, she is a redhead, and she gives no F's. Okay. And my girls just roll their eyes, but they are gorgeous, and the world is the world.
Make sure that microphone's right up.
Different view up here.
Thank you.
Oh, she's so cute. Look at her. She's such
ready?
a sweetie pie.
Would you state your name, please?
Dardita Gordon.
And Dardita, where are you from?
I'm from Covert, Michigan.
And during 2009, I believe between April and August of this past year, were you in the Van Buren County Jail?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And what were you in the Van Buren County Jail for?
Failure to pay fines and costs.
Okay. And while you were there, were there a number of other female inmates that you shared a cell with?
Yes.
Okay. And my understanding is you left jail somewhere around August the 23rd. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Before you left jail, or when you left jail, were you done with anything you had to do with the system at that point in time?
Yes, I had nothing else to do with the system.
All right. And up to that point in time, had you ever talked to any officer about a person named Linda Stermer?
During the time I was incarcerated?
Right.
No, sir.
Were you eventually contacted by an officer in, I believe, sometime in late October of 2009?
Yes, sir.
All right. And were you told that your name came up from talking to another inmate or other inmates?
Yes.
All right. And is it true that officer wanted to know what, if anything, you knew about a person named Linda Stermer?
Yes.
And during the time that you were in the jail, did you know who Linda Stermer was?
I did not know her until I met her while I was incarcerated.
So the state claims that basically Dardita Gordon came to them of her own accord, that this was after she was done paying her debt to society and her debt to the county, and she came to them, is what I'm getting from this deposition. Now, what the defense is going to kind of play this out, and what they laid out in the opening statement, is that apparently the state was allegedly sending in prison snitches over and over to try to get Linda to confess. And it was all a conspiracy to get Linda to confess. Dardita never did this. She, basically wheedled, and made it so that Linda said that she did something. Basically, the defense is going to come out with, it's a conspiracy. Now, this is going to be hard to kind of cross-examine since the witness is dead, but they are going to put out there that, again, This is someone who ostensibly had something to gain from, giving this witness testimony. But from what the deposition just said, it sounds like she had already finished her term, paid her fines, and she stood to really gain not much from telling about Linda, at least from what I'm understanding of what she's said so far. She.
And when you met her in jail, first of all, tell us, how does things work as far as people getting along, not getting along, making friends, not making friends? Is there any particular way that works at the county jail or not?
Depending on the friendliness of the person, the nature of the person, what they were in there for, I tried to get along with everybody, to do my time, to go home. I don't put myself in the position to argue, to fight with the inmates, or to disrupt the jail system.
Okay.
Basically, I stay to myself, or I talk to other people that are, that I can talk to.
All right. And would it be fair to say that there are some people that get friendly and spend a lot of time with each other talking in jail, and there are other people that just don't do that or avoid people?
Yes.
Okay. How would you describe your relationship with Linda Stermer? How did the two of you get along, if at all?
We got along fine.
Okay. And as far as over the period of, about how long were you in jail together?
Roughly, I spent about a week, about 4 days down in the holding tank with her. Then I want to say roughly about a month and a half in the cell with her before I became a trustee.
And during that time, as compared with other inmates, were you closer with her, about the same as other inmates?
I was more closer with her.
Okay. And during that time, did discussion ever come up about why each of you were in jail?
Yes, I previously knew before when I was in the holding tank with her. I knew then what she was in there for because...
Okay, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. I was going to say, how did you know that?
She told me.
She told you when you were in the holding cell together?
Yes.
Before that, had you read anything, heard anything, seen anything on TV, any other source that you knew anything about her case or that it even happened?
No.
All right. Any knowledge that you have about her case, did that come from anywhere other than Linda Stermer?
No.
All right. I'm just going to ask you a general question. Tell me what your conversations were with Linda Stermer about her case.
Conversation was what she was incarcerated for. She told me she was incarcerated for murdering her husband. She told me that she had nothing to do with it.
Okay.
At one point in time, she told me it was over a course of 2 years that this was all going on. She was very hysterical at the time when we were in the holding tank. She was very hysterical, very crying, very.
At the time, she said that she didn't have anything to do with it. Did she tell you about anything at all about what had happened?
Only that she had an argument with her husband.
Okay. Did she tell you anything about that there had been a fire?
Yes.
Was there any discussion at all about where she had been when the fire happened, how she happened to get out, and he didn't?
She said that she wasn't in the home at the time of the fire, was the first conversation we had about it.
That she was not in the home?
Yes.
Was she on the property or just gone somewhere else according to what she initially told you?
She said she was gone off the property at the time of the fire.
Okay. And continue on with what happened. Did the story change at any point in time or was there another story?
The story changed when we were in the cell together.
Okay. And in what way did it change?
The story changed to where she told me that she had an altercation with her husband at the time.
Okay.
An argument with him.
Did she tell you what the argument was about?
No, she did not tell me what the argument was about. That she did not do. She told me that she had an altercation, an argument. There was a point in time that she told me that there was medication involved with her husband.
Okay.
And at one point...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
One point in time, she told me that she started the fire in the home.
Okay. When she was talking about medication being involved, did she indicate how medication had been involved?
Administered the medication.
I'm sorry?
Administered.
She gave him medication?
Yes.
Okay. Did she tell you what it was that she had given him?
No, she did not.
Okay. Now, you said that she eventually told you that she had started the fire?
Yes.
Okay. Did she tell you anything about how she started the fire?
With gasoline.
Okay. Did she give you any other details about where this was or where her husband was or?
Her husband was inside the home.
Okay. Anything more specific than that she told you?
No, the fire was started in the home and her husband was inside of the home at the time.
Okay. Did she indicate how she was able to do that without him stopping her, running out, fighting with her?
He was apparently sleeping.
Okay. What else, if anything, did she tell you about what happened?
She did tell me that at one time that she struck him with an object.
Okay. Was that during this same conversation?
Okay, let me get the bendable men. Oh, come on, rolly chair. Don't be an ass. Or is this his front? Maybe that's his butt. I put his... Look, turning your head to put you... Look. So, Todd had... marks on the top of his head, both sides of his head, right above the ear, so right about here area. And then on the back of his head, he had a large gash with a slight depression fracture. So it wasn't huge. It wasn't a huge depressed fracture, but it was... These head wounds didn't ever make sense as far as getting run over. And again, you know, in chat, we kind of theorized that because the ground was soft, it had been raining, it was spitting. Maybe when Todd got hit, he got more pressed into the ground than a lot of lacerations. Now, he also had 3 broken ribs, 2 on the left side, 3 and 4 up in the front, so anterior in the front. And then he had 1 rib fracture on the right side of his 3rd rib. Now, the medical examiner did say that the 2 frontal fractures could have been from rescue trying to do CPR. He said the back fracture, the fracture toward the rear posterior, he couldn't really link it to possible CPR stuff. That being said, this lays out and antediluvian fire. I mean, again, the jury is going to have to really take, you know, a grain of salt with this. They're instructed that, you know, you get to put whatever weight you want on whatever piece of evidence. So the jury might, you know, consider this just jailhouse talk and not put a lot of weight on it. I mean, we noticed that when Kate Fox got done, they didn't have any questions for her. So they might have, you know, they might not be putting as much weight on these particular witnesses. I don't know.
Or was this a different time?
This was within the same conversation that we had the last time that I spoke with her.
Okay. Was it, just so I understand, was she saying that she struck him with an object while he was sleeping?
No, this was during the altar. This was during the...
Chucky, the woman who's testifying is never going back to jail. She is a paralegal for the state. The actual witness passed away. That's why they're reading her transcript. I don't know if the defense gets to say anything because the right to confrontation is a little different. That means Linda is allowed to cross-examine the witnesses when someone is dead. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the specific rules, but maybe we'll figure it out.
The argument.
Okay.
She struck him with an object, then the conversation went to there was medication involved, and then the conversation went on with the fire got started. That she started the fire, her husband was sleeping at the time.
All right. Anything else at all any other discussion about what happened that day?
Not after that.
Great success. Since Linda's conviction was overturned, she's been out on house arrest, so she has been able to go to the salon, I guess, or have someone come. So that being said, she got her hair did. Although how she gets, I mean, she must have like thick head of hair like I do. She must have a top coat and an undercoat. Yeah, no, this is a paralegal.
That was all that me and her had a conversation about at that point in time.
Okay. Did you ever have any conversation with her at all about her relationship with her husband or other men?
She did tell me that she had a boyfriend.
Okay. Did she tell you anything about him?
She told me that he was a good man.
Okay.
I mean...
Anything else as far as where she met him, how she met him, where he was from, anything like that?
She told me she met him shortly after her husband passed.
Okay, I'm sorry, we misunderstood. Before her husband died, I'm sorry, I wasn't clear.
Okay.
What I was asking about is, did you ever have any conversation, or did she ever say she had a boyfriend while her husband was still alive?
So I guess it's a little unclear, but what I'm catching, and this might just be my read of it. So basically, Dardita was telling, basically Linda was telling Dardita that, yeah, I have a boyfriend, but I only met him like very shortly after Todd passed. So the first story that Linda told was, yes, I have someone, but I didn't meet him until Todd passed. And then I'm sure there's going to be different or reiterations of this story. And she kind of missed the question. I think that is what I think is going on, but I could be wrong.
No, she did not.
That never came up?
That never came up, no.
Right now, you've got nothing pending in the system, is that right?
That's right.
And has anything been promised to you, or are you expecting anything for being here and providing testimony today?
No.
All right. And basically, you were identified by someone as being apparently close to Linda Stermer, and the police came and talked to you.
Yes.
And this is pretty much what you told them?
Yes.
Thank you. No other questions. You want my copy, Skip? Okay. Yeah, I think you have to.
Good afternoon, Ms. Gordon. How are you today?
I'm good.
Thank you for being here. I know the weather is quite difficult.
Okay, this is allowed because apparently she didn't pass before she got deposed. So the defense actually did get to kind of question her. So we are going to be now reading the deposition of when the defense deposed her, probably for the first trial. And thank you, Kayla, for making that a coherent and short statement. They crossed her previously. They're just reading it in to the record. So there you go.
My name is Jeff Gettings, and I'm going to ask you a few questions, okay?
Yes.
If at any point you don't understand the question or don't understand what I'm saying, please feel free to just let me know. Is that okay?
Yes.
Now, it's your testimony that, or isn't it true that you were arrested and placed into the Van Buren County Jail in 2009?
Yes.
Okay, you guys,
Isn't it
just
true
for
that you
sick
now
and
testify-
twisted curiosity, I want to see how he's actually reading this. Because if this is his reading speed, I can see why he's behind on all the research that he needs.
That you were there for failure to pay fines and costs.
Yes.
Oh, dear God.
Failing to pay fines, pay what fines and costs?
For restitution.
Restitution for what?
3 years ago, I caught a case for attempted uttering and publishing.
You attempted uttering and publishing, what does that mean?
I knowingly cashed I did not know that the check was stolen, and I cashed the check.
You cashed a check that you did not know was stolen?
Yes.
Well, isn't it true that uttering and publishing requires that you knowingly pass a check that has been false, forged, or altered? It's money that you're not entitled to. Isn't that true?
Yeah.
Yes or no? Isn't it that what uttering and publishing is?
No.
That's not?
No.
Isn't it true? Think you pled guilty to the crime?
I did plead guilty to the crime.
Are you now telling me that you're not guilty of that crime?
I'm telling you that I was guilty of cashing a check not knowing it was stolen.
Well, isn't it true that you admitted to the judge at the time of your guilty plea while under oath after having sworn to tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, that you were guilty of that offense that you pled to?
Because that was the offense that I was charged with, and it was dropped to attempted uttering and publishing.
Antediluvian fire. I wish I had tech help for you. I don't. Good Lord. I'm trying to make my hair look less messy, and it's just, whew. It's going to be one of them days. It's going to be 80s Julia Roberts hair. It just is what it is. Look, when you fresh dye it red, it just has a mind of its own.
So you attempted to pass a false, forged, or otherwise altered document that you were not entitled to,
Yes.
but you were stopped in the preparation of that offense.
Yes.
That's what attempt means.
Yes.
So, okay, And then the judge had ordered you to pay restitution for that passing or your attempted passing of that false check. The restitution was actually for the check that was cashed, isn't that true?
The restitution was for that, yes. That was for that.
Okay, so the charge against you was reduced from uttering and publishing, a felony punishable by up to 15 years in prison, to attempted uttering and publishing.
Yes.
And then you failed to do what the court had ordered you to do. 3 years passed and you were picked up.
Yes, because I'm disabled.
How are you disabled?
I cannot work. I have medical conditions to where I cannot work right now.
Do you currently take medication, prescription medications for those conditions?
Yes, I do.
What medications are you on?
I take Lortab.
What's Lortab?
It's a pain.
Chucky, I don't know. To be honest, every judge has their own rules. She might have preferred that they read the testimony in. It might be procedural in Michigan. Next time I catch up with Dave, I will try to ask to see if there was, video, or if there's a judge by judge kind of rule. The judges generally rule their courtroom. They can kind of set their courtroom as whatever they want. So this might be what she prefers versus, video. I don't know.
Medication because I have cancer.
Are you currently taking any medications other than Lortab?
I take Xanax because I have PTSD disorder and panic disorder.
PTSD stands for post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yes, sir.
Were you diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder?
5 years ago, 6 years ago, sorry.
What is the diagnosis of panic disorder?
It's the extreme panic disorder of going in public, of being around a group of people.
And you take Xanax so that you won't panic when you're around a group of people?
Yes.
Were you prescribed Xanax at the time that you were incarcerated in the Van Buren County Jail?
I was not allowed to take them in the county jail.
So at the time that you were incarcerated in the Van Buren County Jail in 2009, you were not taking Xanax?
No, because you cannot have narcotics in the county jail system.
You were not taking your Lortab?
No, because you cannot have narcotics in the county jail system.
What other medications have you been prescribed that you were not taking at the time that you were
I take Seroquel at that time. I couldn't afford it in the county jail because I have no insurance.
What is Seroquel?
Seroquel is for insomnia and for mood disorders.
What mood disorder have you been diagnosed with?
Bipolar 2.
What is bipolar 2?
Bipolar 2 is a mood swing disorder. It is a mental condition of you have mood swings. Your elevation of moods go up and down. It's a mood stabilizer. It's also for insomnia.
Seroquel, Xanax.
Seroquel is a pretty heavy duty sort of mood stabilizer thing. It has a lot of negative side effects. Dystonia. I used to work in a home set up for adults with developmental disabilities to try to, help them integrate into the community, have as much of a normal life with freedoms to choose, groceries, try to maintain their homes, go out in public, do what they want, but still, be there in case there's, maybe an escalation of a behavior or you need a redirection. And one of the side effects of Seroquel is sort of uncontrollable facial tics. And it's very sad because your body gets normalized to these heavy duty drugs and they have such devastating side effects. I wonder if that would help me sleep. To be fair, my body's kind of gotten used to being light sleeper, so I might be totally confused if I deeply sleep.
X, Lortab. What other medications were you not taking at the time that you were in the county jail?
That's it.
Have you been diagnosed with any other mental or emotional disorders other than panic disorders, post-traumatic stress disorder, and bipolar?
No.
Ms. Gordon, have you ever been convicted of any other theft-related crimes or crimes involving dishonesty like attempted uttering and publishing?
I have one other charge that was a misdemeanor of a theft at Walmart.
When did that occur?
I can't recall the date, the year. I know it was probably 2000, I want to say 5, maybe even 6.
And the reason you can't recall is because you have difficulty with your memory as a result of post-traumatic stress disorder and panic disorder and bipolar.
Yes.
When you were incarcerated at the Van Buren County Jail, you had access to a television. Is that true?
Yes, I had access to a television, but not until after I was already moved from the cell. I was in with Ms. Stermer to cell 1.
You also had access to other media reports, newspapers.
No,
No?
no,
Did you have access to other persons as a source of information? Did anybody come and visit you at the jail?
the only one that came to visit me at the jail was my father and my fiance at the time, but they didn't have TV at the time and they don't watch the news.
So both your father and your fiance were persons who came to visit you?
Yes.
And that's it? No other friends, no other family?
Nope.
In the several months that you were there at the jail, is that a yes?
Yes.
Did you know Linda Stermer
No.
before she came to jail?
No.
She was arrested on June the 5th of 2009. When she initially came to jail, she was put in what you refer to as a tank. Is that right?
Yes, it's like a holding cell for inmates when they come in.
Until they've been assigned to another cell.
Yes.
Now, the tank has another purpose besides being where people are initially put when they are arrested. It's also used as a disciplinary tool.
Yes, it is.
Now, you were in the tank. You hadn't just been arrested. You were there as a disciplinary action. Is that true? Is that yes?
Yes.
Detective Sergeant Macioski and Detective Gabriel Rout, were the two persons who interviewed you on October the 28th. Is that right?
Yes.
Isn't it true, madam, that when you were first asked by detectives whether or not Ms. Stermer had made any statements to you, you told them that she did ask for forgiveness, but you could not remember anything further?
Yes, they did ask me that, and yes, she did ask for forgiveness.
Isn't it true that
And Catherine Boysen, they always misunderstand memory problems in regard to PTBS. It means, first of all, the memory of the time of the crime. Yeah, it's really, I don't have PTSD, so I don't know all of the things that come with that, but I do understand the fog of chronic pain. And while it might be not similar, just because I don't remember names now and I don't remember dates doesn't mean that, I don't remember everything, that I'm not fully competent. It just means that those higher order functions, those little things that you can remember because you have the bandwidth to do it, some days I don't. Some days my pain level is at a 7 and it's just, I'll remember what's important. Those little things, the remembering the names, the remembering the, movies, all those, and the dates, all those things that I used to be able to do. It's not that I'm not capable. Again, it's the bandwidth. And maybe PTSD is kind of like that. If you're having an okay day, everything is firing on that same wavelength. And when you're having a bad day, it's not. I don't know. In an age where we seem to want to be at least giving word salad and, lip service to destigmatizing mental illness, we are certainly, very quick to bring it up all the time. And you can ask people that suffer from these things and get their actual perspectives. So many of these lawyers use caricatures for this. Remember the Megan Boswell case where, poor Ethan Hunt, look, the man she tried to accuse of unaliving her baby was either suffering from schizophrenia or all the stress, again, Chicken Man, exacerbated his, schizophrenia, and the defense attorney would not get off the fact that he talked about tinfoil hats, and schizophrenia talks about tinfoil hats. Lawyers need to get more understanding. I hope that there are supplemental classes or lawyers start to take it upon themselves to really understand these things before they throw things around, before they, say, oh, schizophrenia, he must have been, talking about tinfoil hats. Yes, there is a memory component. And Tammy Fayette, Dardita Gordon was a woman that was in jail with Linda Stermer when she first got arrested. Now, according to Dardita, Linda confessed many times. Now, she passed away in the intervening years from her first trial to her second trial. So they are just reading in her testimony. It does look like the defense at that time was able to either cross-examine or depose her. So that's what we're reading. I don't know how much weight the jury is going to put on this. Again, the woman was in jail. Now, she did reach out to the police after she had gotten done with her jail sentence and paid her fines. It doesn't seem like she had a lot to gain from, giving this information. So that is an important thing to keep in mind, that yes, she is, someone that had been in prison, but she was done with her sentence at the time she reached out to the police. So ostensibly that, I'm going to get time off my sentence thing wouldn't be a motivator here.
That you told the officers that that's all that you could remember and you could not remember anything further.
I did not say that that was all I could remember. I said at the present moment, that was all that I could remember.
Isn't it true that it was Detective Maciowski that suggested to you that Linda Stermer had struck her husband as opposed to you telling him that first?
No, he did not suggest that to me.
And thank you, Ann Catherine Boysen, for being brave and sharing that. There are a lot of things that people feel like it's intrusive to ask. But since I've gotten hurt, since I have a chronic thing, I just ask, what are you going through? It gives me a better perspective, and I don't assume I know things just because I have something. If you want to know what someone with autism is feeling, or someone with, PTSD, if they're okay with them, ask them. It's okay. And I have my favorites. This is absolutely right. When I'm having a high pain day, I know I have a tough time staying focused if I'm required to fill out paperwork and things like that. That's honestly why I take notes, because it really helps to focus my mind on what's going on. And ask them gently when you're friends, not like, hey, you have a wheelchair, can I ask you a question? Don't do that. Actually, funny story about that, since Dardita's testimony is boring me. So this morning, I have a lady who walks her dog who always waves at me, and this morning she didn't, and I was worried that maybe I got too close to her on the road. And if you are a recovering Catholic, or just me, you have immense guilt for everything. So I was like, oh my God, did she think that I was trying to, get her or something? So when I came back from dropping off the boys at school, I stopped over and I was like, hey, I am sorry. I didn't mean to get so close to you. And she's like, what are you talking about, sweetie? And I was like, well, this morning I got a little closer to you than I normally do. And I know how scary it is to walk on these roads. So I try to give you extra space, and I didn't have all that much more space this morning. And she's like, oh, sweetie, I know when people try to run me off the road, and you've never tried to run me off the road. And I was like, well, life a goal achieved. I have not tried to run anyone off the road. But when you feel like, oh my God, they're going to be mad at me, and it's something so stupid, and it'll keep you awake till 3 a.m. I am that person.
So when Detective Maciowski writes in his report that he attempted to jar your memory by asking if she had heard Linda Stermer doing chapel make any statements as to striking her husband.
Well, and Catherine Boysen, I will tell you, so I finally used my walker out in public at my mother-in-law's funeral. And it was a terrible, terrible day, but it was also exhausting because I hadn't really ever talked about my illness and what I was going through. And it is exhausting to try to explain to a bunch of people who love you. They were all sweet, they were all loving, they were kind, and they really wanted to know. But it's also exhausting because you live it too, and you don't want to have to always talk about it. And it comes from a sweet place. I can't complain because they're actually reaching out and asking, but it does get exhausting. And sometimes you worry that people only see your walker. That's why I wear funny shirts, because at least they'll see the funny shirt too.
He must be lying in his report.
It was a question that he asked me if there was anything I could remember about her striking, hitting, or anything else.
And so Detective Macioski, after you had told him you could not remember anything further other than her asking for forgiveness, suggested to you that she had...
We don't want to be invisible, and we don't want to be our illness. Yes, our illness affects every part of our life, but we're still Mo, we're still Sarah, we're still Anne, we're still, I have my favorites. We're still us. So yes, our life has a lot become about our chronic illness, but we're still us, and we're desperately trying to still be us. So please have patience with us. And for those of us who are dealing with chronic pain, let's be really kind to the people that help us. Let's try to remember that when we're snappy and irritated and everything's hurting, that they are trying their best. And, have grace for one another. No one asks to have chronic conditions, either mental health issues or things like that. So just try to be kind. Don't be a dick. I didn't think that was such a hard thing, but maybe we need to have an entire TED Talk about how not to be a cunt. And Tammy, I am working my hardest to get something set up to go to Dollywood. So I will be at Dollywood, probably with my new bionic tactical walker. Tactawalker. Now, Mr. Mo said I couldn't add flare guns or a taser. But, I might buy the, addition pack, because I'm gonna pimp my walker. Because, y'all, youngest most feral destroyed my walker. There is a stabilizing pin in one of the front wheels, and we have no idea where he put it. Neither does he. So right now, Walker Mo's Ranger is retired because my son took the screw out of the stabilizing wheel. I love my youngest. He is my chaos demon. He is the most like me, where he fiddles with something and puts it down and then doesn't remember where the hell he put it.
had struck her husband. Is that true?
Yes, to be honest with you,
Madam, I haven't asked you any other questions, and it wouldn't be appropriate for you just to make comments, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Have you had any contact with Ms. Stermer since your release from jail?
No.
Did you visit? So you never visited her, she's never visited you, there hasn't been any contact, is that right?
No.
So this friendship that you claim you developed with her while you were incarcerated evaporated upon your release, or excuse me, upon her release from jail.
Yes.
She was actually released from jail before you were, right?
Yes.
You made no attempt to come forward with any of this information to the sheriff's department, to a detective, to a guard, or anyone during the course of your incarceration. Is that right?
That's true.
You didn't make any statements to the police or other law enforcement authorities about this at the...
Well, I have my favorites. The jobs that he has decided he wants to do is be the president and give everyone a cow because it would be funny. So he is my child. He wants to be the king of North Korea to free all the North Koreans. I don't know about that one. And he also wants to be a LooTuber, which means a YouTuber. So it's a mixed bag as to what he wants to do most times. I do say I approve him being the king of North Korea. He's like, I'll be king at first and then I'll be president. Because kings, make all the rules, but presidents have to do other people's stuff too. I was like, okay, all right. King of North Korea. Chucky says, I get it now. This legal assistant is playing the part. She's bubbly because she's not been tainted yet by county lockup. I think one night in jail, county, or fed prison changes you. Yeah. Yeah, probably. Or he just saw, oh my gosh, this comes off. I wonder if I could do that, and did it and then forgot where he put it. He is 8. He will be 9 this year. Everyone is odd except for middle son. So I've got 19, 17, 15, 13, 10, and 9. You know, I hate that I have CRPS now because I wanted to get a tattoo of all of their birth dates. You know, so when I go to the pharmacy, I can remember them because that's the worst thing about CRPS. I know when my kids were born, but I have 3 children that were born on the 21st of a month. I've got 5 evens, 1 odd. I can't. Oh, I can? I was worried with the needles. Sailor Moon sleeve coming up. It would destroy my mother. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, she wouldn't like it, but I'm over the phase where I'm doing stuff to bother my mom. That being said, I have continued to be red, you know, defying my blondness for years. It started off as a well, flick of the nose, and I turned out I liked it.
The time when you claimed these statements were being made, is that right?
That's true.
And even after Ms. Stermer was released from jail in August of 2009, you didn't come forward to any point in time then, did you?
That is true.
And Madam, isn't it true that Detective Maciowski indicated to you or brought to your attention, used the word frying pan before you made any statements about having been struck with any kind of object? Isn't that true?
Yes.
And later, Detective Rout asked you, are you sure about that? Being that Detective Maciowski had mentioned the possibilities of a frying pan, Detective Rout asked you, are you sure that isn't true, that you then said, well, you...
Okay, so the theory of the first trial was that she struck him repeatedly on the head with a frying pan, and that's how she incapacitated him, and basically the rest of the story plays out. Now, in this trial, the state hasn't really put forth, you know, sort of the sequencing of events. They've left that sort of vague. Again, they've given you evidence of what they had. Now, for some people, that might be reasonable doubt that they haven't spelled out where he got each of these injuries. And for some jurors, this might be enough to convict her. We'll just have to see. I don't know that anyone with a functioning frontal cortex is going to believe Linda, but we don't know who got on the jury. That being said, there were some very complex, like chemistry, physics, not chemistry questions that were asked of the lab tech that did the gasoline sort of detection.
You don't know about the frying pan, only that she did strike her husband. Is that right?
I did say that.
And so even during your interview with the detectives, they were, Detective Maciowski was suggesting information to you. You were including that in your statement, and then you were retracting it later. All during your one interview with the police, is that right?
Yes.
You continue to suffer from memory problems that you are a result of a post-traumatic stress disorder, bipolar disorder, and anxiety disorder. Is that true?
Yes, I do continue to suffer from them.
Are you currently being treated for those?
Yes, I am.
All right. But they continue to affect your ability to recall things in a clear and precise way. Is that right?
I wouldn't say that. It affects me to be able to decipher from right and wrong.
That's not what I asked you. I asked you whether or not your memory continued to be impacted by the Lortab, Xanax, Seroquel, your disorders of panic, post-traumatic stress disorder, mood disorder, bipolar. Those things affect your ability to accurately recall events. Isn't that true?
It plays a part in it, yes.
What else plays a part in your inability to accurately recall things?
Stress.
All right. What else plays a part? Stress, post-traumatic stress disorders, anxiety disorders, mood disorders, bipolar disorder, and your various prescriptions for those things. Basically nothing else?
That's my part.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. Basically nothing else. I take medication for that.
Amber Papish was also in your cell. Isn't that true?
Not with me at the present moment, no, or not.
You are not currently incarcerated.
She was not in the cell at the time that me and Ms. Stermer were in the cell together.
When did she come into the cell?
Amber came into that cell shortly after I left.
Amy Lauren, she was also incarcerated with you. Isn't that true?
Yes, Amy Lauren was also incarcerated with me.
And Linda Barton, isn't it true that she also was incarcerated with you and Ms. Stermer?
Yes, she was.
I don't have any other questions, Your Honor.
Just a couple more questions. Ms. Gordon, it was Officer Maciowski that brought up the question if Linda Stermer had used any object such as a frying pan. He's the one that brought that up?
He brought it up, yes.
Okay, and you understand that we want you to testify to what you remember, not what was suggested to you.
Exactly. That's why when he asked me the question, I said, all I remember is that she said she struck him with an object.
Also, during the course of that conversation, according to his report and Detective Rout's report, is that Linda told you that she was there because she had killed her husband and she had started a...
Okay, technical question for chat, if there are any medical people in chat. So the fact that Todd Stermer had burns and extensive burns to about 90% of his body, would that loss of surface area, that exposure of the almost entire body to the outside area and loss of both serous fluid and blood, would that interfere in any way with toxicology, like making ratios different? Denise, actually, my husband and I are looking at a different model walker. I didn't research very well when I got my first walker. I just kind of said, I'm getting one and it's pretty. There are ones that stand taller. I've noticed that when I use my walker, it's just a scotch too low. So there's ones that actually help you stand up a little better and are better for your posture. Well, and I don't know if burns would bleed, considering it would cauterize the skin, but I am wondering if the loss of serous fluid or that fluidy plasma part of your blood would do anything. I'm not a doctorologist.
a fire in that she had used gasoline. Nobody suggested that to you, did they?
No, they did not.
Thank you. No other questions.
Isn't it true that that information had previously been reported in the media?
No, it was not, because I did not watch television at the time. I was not in the cell with any kind of television or any way to be able to see that.
That wasn't my question. That wasn't it.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to the next question then, because she said she doesn't watch television and wasn't aware of it. She wouldn't know whether or not it was in the media.
And welcome, readers.
Sorry.
I don't know what the next
And I'm
question.
sorry, who rated in? I didn't see. I was making sure that Mr. Mo got a text for something. Oh gosh, she's smiling. Okay, do you guys remember the Black Cauldron? Or was it the Sword in the Stone? There was sort of a witch that looked just like her with the fluffy hair, and she was kind of, I think she tried to trick Merlin, because she looked all hot and smexy at first, and then she changed into a, well, you know, herself. And thank you, Mr. Coop and Georgie. Welcome, Raiders. We are here. Basically, what is happening right now is testimony is being read in from a person who is no longer with us. She was a guest of the prison system as well with Linda, and claims that, you know, Linda told her that, you know, there was an altercation with Todd. She incapacitated him in some way by hitting him on the head and started the fire. Now, Linda told multiple stories about this. At first, you know, she wasn't even in the house when the fire started. And then eventually she said that there were, you know, pharmaceuticals involved. Somehow Todd was incapacitated and she lit him on fire. Now, some things to note about this. Yes, this is a prison confession, a jailhouse snitch, if you will. Some things to note about that. Dardita Gordon came to the police after she was out of prison. So she had already paid her debt for whatever she was in prison for. I believe it was trying to pass a forged check. So she went to the police after she had already paid, you know, her debt to society and started working on restitution. So while there is, you know, a tendency to think that jailhouse confessions come with, you know, some sort of prize for the person that gets them, In this case, there wasn't really a prize or a, get out of jail free card. It seems like she contacted the police of her own volition. So those are things to keep in mind. And the jury will take into account whatever they take into account. Now, Linda Stermer's former best friend, Kate Fox, kind of spilled the tea and basically called Linda a terrible friend who stole $5,000 from her, cheated on her husband, made her sit in the car while she had her liaisons with her boyfriend. Basically, it was a whole lot petty. So the jury didn't have any questions for her, and I so want to skip because we're almost to Linda and Todd's son. I will let you guys know that this is probably going to be emotional testimony. Obviously, this young man lost his father that day, and for all intents and purposes, he's lost his mother for a long time. I know she has like she has like I don't know, like Australian Shepherd hair. I bet she was real popular in the 80s. She didn't need no white rain. It just whoosh by itself.
Question is, so let's hear it.
You know what? I'm not even going to bother. That's it. I'm done.
Okay. You may step down.
I just love her whole outfit.
Counsel,
It's
can
so
you
cute.
approach, please?
I would never wear a white shirt because I am a walking chaos disaster, but I do like it. Now, I will have to stop this testimony in about 45 minutes, but hopefully we can get through it. Again, this is probably
Okay,
going to
jury,
be...
an instruction for you. The testimony of Dardita Gordon was read into this trial because she is not available. This testimony was taken under oath at an earlier hearing. You should consider this testimony in the same way you consider any other testimony you have heard in court. Thank you. Ms. Zeiderman, you may call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Please call Cory Pierce to stand, please.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Thank you. Please have a seat, and once you're settled in, I'll have you move the microphone close to your mouth and tell us your full name and spell the last.
Okay, and Cory Pierce was a nephew. I'm not sure if he was Todd's nephew or Linda's nephew. I'm sure we'll get to that. But basically, they adopted him and took him in as their own, raised him as their son. So this young man has gone through a whole hell of a lot in his life. And doggone it, I would give you an awkward hug, sir, because I can't imagine.
Cory Lee Pierce, P-I-E-R-C-E.
Thank you. Ms. Zeiderman?
Thank you. Good morning, or good afternoon, Mr. Pierce.
Good afternoon.
And can you explain to the jury why you have a different last name?
My biological dad had dropped me off at my aunt and uncle's when I was about 2 years old. And I grew up with them and they raised me.
So who raised you?
My aunt and uncle,
And what are their names?
Linda and Todd Stermer.
And did you think of them as your parents?
Yes, I called them mom and dad.
At the time of the fire, how old were you?
17.
Can you explain to the jury kind of what the layout of the house, where your bedroom was, where your brother slept?
So our bedrooms were in the basement.
Good.
As you go down the stairs, as you turn to the right, we had a kind of a recreational room right there, and then a downstairs living room. And then in the back corner, there were 2 large bedrooms in each corner down there.
And did you share a bedroom or did you have your own?
I was sharing it with my brother Trevor at the time, and then Trenton's room was right next to that one. They were connected.
Right by each other?
Yeah.
And was there a loft area that your dad was working on?
Yeah, so that had just gotten finished. The loft area was Trevor's bedroom.
So that was going to be Trevor's bedroom?
Yes,
But at the time of the fire, were all 3 of you still sleeping downstairs?
correct.
Do you recall the night before the fire?
Yes.
And had you heard any fighting that night?
Yes, so I had heard a lot of arguing, yelling, and my dad had found out that Linda was cheating on him.
So I can rephrase the question. Do you know what the fight was about?
Yes.
And what was the fight about?
But it's not hearsay.
Unless, does he know from personally observing it, or?
He heard it, Your Honor.
And why is it being offered?
Why is it being
The
offered?
objection is hearsay?
Oh, I can actually ask in terms of what he heard his mother say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let
Could you
Linda
tell me
tell
what
me.
you heard Linda say, what the fight was about?
That night,
Yeah.
so Linda was claiming that she didn't cheat on our dad. And he,
And then you heard more.
Oh Lord, he's gonna make me cry because he looks like my youngest, most feral grown up. And you can see it. He is holding back. This has to be incredibly hard. Again, he lost his dad. He thought it was an accident. And then it comes out that it's a possibility that his mom did it or Linda did it. I mean, I can't imagine the turmoil, the emotional chaos that causes, let alone to, you know, realize that someone hated your dad so much. He does look, he does have a younger face. I think that if he had a beard, smoke show, but he's too young for me. I'm a silver fox hunter and married, and Henry Cavill isn't here or dating me.
More yelling.
I heard more yelling at that point.
And where were you when Linda and your dad were arguing?
Downstairs in my bedroom.
And you
In
could
bed.
hear it?
Yes, could hear pretty clear.
Do you recall, you said you were in bed?
Yeah.
So do you recall approximately like how late this was?
I can't remember the time.
But you had already gone to bed?
Yes.
Did your brothers also go to bed?
Yeah.
All three of you were in bed?
Yeah, we went to bed at the same time usually.
Did any of you get up?
No.
Which you could clearly hear upstairs?
Yeah.
That night that you heard this fighting between Linda and your dad, did Linda come downstairs to the basement?
Not during that night that I know of.
She didn't come down and watch TV?
Not that I know of, no.
She didn't come down and snuggle with you on the couch?
No.
At any time that night before the fire, did you hear your dad come downstairs?
Not that I recall.
Didn't hear him go into the furnace room?
No.
How close was your bedroom to the furnace room?
It basically almost touched it. It was just on the other side of the wall, kind of kitty corner.
Shared a wall?
Yes.
Was the basement 100% finished?
It had
I mean, it is her trial, so, but she does kind of give a standoffish sort of vibe. But it's her trial, she's defending her life, so I haven't met her in her natural habitat. I can't go full David Attenborough. But yeah, she doesn't strike me as a cuddler. More a runner over.
had just gotten finished. As far as I recall, had just gotten finished, yes.
So you had drywall?
Had drywall.
Did you have carpet?
We didn't have carpet down there.
Didn't have carpet yet?
No.
Did you have area rugs?
I don't remember an area rug.
Was the ceiling finished?
Yes.
Was it drywalled?
I think it was drywall, yes.
Growing up, did you ever see your parents get physical with each other?
No.
Did you ever see any marks or bruises on Linda?
No.
Do you recall waking up the next morning, the day of the fire?
Yes.
And you were in your bedroom?
Yeah.
And what woke you up?
I was already awake at the time. I just woke up on my own that morning.
Did you hear anything?
I heard somebody walking down the stairs.
And who was that?
Linda.
And then what did she do?
She came into the room, into my bedroom, sat on the end of my bed, and then I sat up, and she told me that I needed to help my brothers get around and get dressed real fast, and she wanted me to take them out to movie and breakfast that morning.
Yeah, I don't know. I would say it maybe closest to my son. Again, I have personal boundary issues. Now, that being said, I was a human jungle gym / grower / feeder for 10 years. I've kind of been touched out for the rest of my life. Okay, my youngest, most feral would would gut me like a tauntaun and sit inside my body. That boy would cuddle inside me. So I love my children. I love them a whole lot. But I have basically been a human jungle gym for 10 years, and I am hypersensitized now, plus the CRPS. So I'm not a cuddler, but to be fair, I wasn't a cuddler before. If I'm comfortable with you, I'm comfortable with you, but I'm just not comfortable with that many people. Sorry.
Did she say why?
She told me that they were going to get divorced and they were going to decide how to split everything up.
Did she tell you what this fight was about?
She didn't bring up a fight at that point. She just told me that they were getting divorced and wanted to decide how to split everything up.
And she told you to go where?
She told me to take my brothers out to breakfast and a movie.
Did she give you any money? Do
Yeah, she gave me some money.
you remember how much?
No, I can't recall.
How dare I not remember that?
So what did you do?
I asked her why we needed to sneak out, and she said that she wanted our dad to think we were still in the basement.
Did she say
And-
why she wanted your dad to think that?
Yes.
What'd she say?
She said that if he thought we were still in the basement, excuse me,
Oh, God.
that they wouldn't argue as much, and that it would be easier to figure out how to.
Okay, fuck you as a mother. Fuck you as a mother, Linda. From one mom to another, I excommunicate you from the mom thing. How fucking dare you? You put this on a 17-year-old child. There are grown issues and then there are kid issues, and kids don't need to be dealing with your stupid bullshit. If you want to cheat, if you want to go around and run around with, I got a fast car, that's fine. If you want to destroy and, your marriage, that is fine. But you will leave your children out of it, you disgusting human craptastic piece of crap. This has haunted this man for his entire life. He probably replays that moment that he went out of the basement every day. You are a craptastic piece of garbage, Linda. Sorry about the rant, but I just picture this little boy, the 17-year-old little boy, being told by his mom, look, first of all, manipulating him into thinking that his presence was going to stop something. How dare you? Because every day he probably thinks if we were still there, it wouldn't have gotten out of control. Linda, I hope when this trial is over, I never see you. You are gross and craptastic.
Get through the divorce stuff that they were going to go through.
So because of that, she wanted you to sneak out?
Yes.
Did she tell you not to talk to your dad?
Yes.
Did you go out the basement door or or a different door?
No, we went up through the upstairs door.
Make new friends, but keep the old. One's in hell and the other's going there. I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. Considering all the stuff I have to tell St. Peter's and explain, I apologize to anyone who passes behind me because I'm going to be in line explaining bunches. So sorry about your wait.
So when you went upstairs, what did you see upstairs?
I walked upstairs and my two brothers were behind me, and Linda was on the side blocking the living room, and I kind of glanced over there as I was leaving, and I looked like I saw my dad just sitting in the chair with his arm kind of resting on the side.
Did you see his face?
No,
Did you try to talk to him?
I did not, no.
Did you see any of your brothers go and try to talk to him?
Yeah, so Trenton was behind me. He tried to go around her and say goodbye, and she blocked him and wouldn't let him go over there.
And you saw this?
Yes.
I'm a rant. I'm going to need if you have ramen noodle money or breadstick money, not ramen noodle money, as Megan Fox says, I'm going on a rant, so curse jar donations are appreciated. You didn't allow your boys to say goodbye to their father. Let's just play this out. You took the photos out. You put her down in the basement near the furnace. You allegedly, did all of this. You got your boys out of the house. You knew what was going to happen, and you refused boys the last chance to tell their dad that they loved him. Look, you might have not loved him as a husband, and that's a whole separate issue, Linda, you craptastic human being. But he was still, by all accounts, a good father. I thought I had reached the levels of dislike of humanity when I heard about Megan Boswell. But the fact that you robbed your 3 sons of their final time to see their father, you are an absolute cuntastic crap hole, and I hate you. A little bit. Look, I'm Scottish, I can hate you and not really feel it, but, just ew. Ew. Just all the ew. And he might have already been dead, and it's just so sad. You can see that this eats him up, and that's what pisses me off. I rarely get this upset unless I see he looks like a good kid. He looks like he's trying to, be an adult and, live a human life, and to have to deal with this entire weight. Because again, I tell you, this man replays in odd moments the fact that hand resting on the recliner. He probably sees flashes of that. He probably wishes that he could say goodbye to his dad. And thank you so much for the donation to the curse jar. Y'all, I don't mean to go on rants, but this just, as a mom, how can you do that? These are your boys. These are your children, not by blood, but by heart and everything else. And how can you hate your husband so much that you would rob your kids of a good dad? I have just never flippin' flapjack understood that. I have never gotten it. I have never realized it. Look, did I have my head up my own behind at one point and, maybe thought about limiting my my youngest daughter's, access to her father? But I took a big breath and pulled my head out of my rear end and realized that she has a wonderful father, a father who loves her, who wanted to be with her. And if I take that away from my daughter, I am the biggest jerk face ever. So yeah, we share custody. He's a good guy. We wouldn't have worked together. He has a lovely wife that cares about my daughter just like I do. So all in all, pulling your head out of your ass is always the best choice. If you are suffering from cranial rectitis, please firmly attach your hands around your, shoulders and tug hard. Now, some of you are fully into like terminal cranial rectitis, and you are going to have to do a Lemmy Winks. So it is up the colon, around the intestines, small intestines, duodenum, and then, ileum and all above. But you'll get there. You really will. Pull your head out of your ass. Oh, Linda is ticking me off. I knew this was going to get me. I knew it. And oh my, like the rage. Feed the rage. Let the darkness flow. This is when I become a Darth. When I become a Sith.
So what happened when she was blocking?
Thank you.
I said, Trenton, come on, let's just go. And we both walked towards the door.
What was the common practice at your house as far as talking to your parents before you left?
We would always give our parents a hug and kiss goodbye and tell them that we loved them.
Did you do that every time you left?
Every time, yes. There was a general rule that we couldn't go to a friend's house, we couldn't go anywhere.
Let me look that up.
Unless we had said goodbye.
You didn't get to say goodbye that day, did you?
No.
Oh, God.
Do you remember if there was a fire in the fireplace?
I don't remember.
Do you remember what car you took to the mall?
Yes, we took the black Blazer.
Did your mom come out, did Linda come out and to the Blazer when you left?
I don't recall.
That is interesting. I wonder if he has asked that she be called Linda and not his mom, and I can see why. But I think maybe he has asked that while she was once his mom, the woman she is now, the woman that allegedly did this, isn't his mom. She made a choice. Look, I'm gonna be real honest with you. I'm swayed by my emotions right now. Now I know legal, oh gosh, Kurt. I know Kurt would be like, you're an emotional woman and you're talking with your feelers. Now, that being said, I'm also have a very logical and analytical side. So I take this testimony along with all of the other, circumstantial evidence, and I say she done it. I'm like 87% there. And I want to shoot her with a super soaker full of holy water and watch her burn in a puddle. It's so tragic. It is so tragic and it's so gross. If you don't love your husband, then doggone it, leave him. Go ride your horses. Go play, wild pony woman, Dr. Quinn, medicine horse woman. But you have destroyed, because what people like this, what Linda doesn't get, what Chandler Halderson doesn't get, what Megan Boswell sure the fuck doesn't get, is that every person touches so many lives. You took a father, you took a brother, you took a son. It wasn't just your husband. Yeah, he was that was one facet. But he was a friend, he was a man, he was a worker, he was a business owner. He had sons. And I am so angry with her. I just want to sue. Look, when I make Convict American Gladiators the Revengeation, first contestant Daryl Brooks, I will be allegedly in Minecraft. I'm just saying, if I get a tennis ball cannon, I don't know, Jem. What I can tell you is drinking holy water is a bad idea. Now, I almost got, I think, taken to the priest to make sure I didn't need a possession thing. But, yeah, one day when I was 7, I decided I was just going to be really, really holy. And I was going to drink my grandma's pocket purse holy water. Now, I decided I was going to be a saint. Saint Mo of, well, redonkulousness. Anywho, I just was like, I want to, because we were learning about all of the miracles of Fatima, and I was like, oh my gosh, if I drink holy water, maybe I'll see Mary and I can tell people the future. Again, not always for, I just wanted superpowers. I'm going to be real blunt with you. I thought that if I drank holy water, it would be kind of like the ooze that turned the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from turtles to Teenage Mutants. It made real logical sense. My grandma was appalled. I had to do a couple rosaries and kneel. That being said, I never got any healing talents, which is upsetting because I really wanted to be a saint. Well, at 7 years old, it made perfect sense. It really did. Now, explaining it to my grandma, I kind of sounded like, Mr. Kelly. Well, Grandma, this is America, and this is American holy water. It's the fabric of our lives.
Do you remember how you got the keys?
The keys were already in the blazer.
Was it common practice for Linda to leave her purse in the car?
No.
Did she ever drive the van?
I don't really remember her ever driving the van.
Is that your dad's primary vehicle?
Yeah, that was his work vehicle.
Do you remember seeing Linda's purse before you left?
Yes.
He was not offed. He just had a 4-hour play date with the prison ladies, if you will. Think Shawshank Redemption and the laundry room. So yeah, Mr. Brooks got, I think, a 4-hour attitude readjustment, Gen Pop justice sort of thing. I know. Well, that's good. Ooh. Yeah, but here's the problem with being a saint. And I just remembered this when I covered a story. So when I die, if I'm a saint, they like stuff me full of plastic and then start taking my organs and bones out to put in altars for new churches. And I'm not sure I'm comfortable with all parts and pieces of me being on altars. I mean, I wouldn't mind if I was taxidermied. I've always joked that I would, and I just hold the Halloween bowl. And then you could dress me up like those cement geese. You know, I just have different holiday like apparel. No one's gone for that yet, but I think it would be hilarious. Animatronic Mo for Halloween and other various holidays.
And where was her purse located?
It was on the counter. When you walked up the stairs, you could see it directly on the counter straight ahead of you. Sorry.
Was that in the kitchen area?
Kitchen area, yes, right at the top.
And you remember seeing it when you walked up?
Yes.
Is that a common place for her to keep her purse?
Yeah, just on the counter up there.
Where did you go in Kalamazoo?
We went to the mall, ate some food, and then we went to a movie.
Did you drive?
I was driving, yes.
Do you remember if the Blazer had a full tank of gas?
I don't remember the amount of gas in there.
Did you get a phone call as you were watching the movie?
Yes.
What was that phone call?
That phone call was from my friend Steven. He lived down the road just a little bit, and he called me and said that our house was on fire.
I'm not offering it for the truth of the matter, just to only describe why he left the movie and his next action.
I'll allow it for that purpose.
So once you got that call, what did you do?
At first I hung up and I thought he was joking. He was kind of a prankster, and he kept calling my phone and I didn't answer it. And then he ended up calling my brother Trevor's phone and told him that it was serious and we needed to get home.
Did you leave at that time?
Yes, then we left.
Did you head back to your house?
Yes, we went straight back home.
What'd you see when you got there?
Linda's posture is really interesting to me. So notice that she's not making any eye contact. This is
Did you head back
probably
to your
the
house?
least
Yes, we went straight back
confident
home.
I've seen her.
What'd you see when you got
I'm taking off the closed captions for a minute. So she's really, look, I'm not a bodyologist or anything, but she's avoiding him. She's slumped over. We've seen her with, you know, casually kind of taking up space, really indicating comfort and kind of being at ease as much as she can. But I do find this very interesting that she's not making eye contact, because you could see her kind of giving the eye to, you know, Kate Fox. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why she's avoiding him. Maybe, you know, he has discovered her truth and she can no longer hide from him. So he is automatically, Linda's personality is she has people that she can use and people that are friendly, and then people that are no longer useful, no longer deal with her. And she kind of just drops those people, allegedly, at least in my thoughts.
there?
Police cars, bunch of smoke coming out of the roof of the house. Somebody had seen us pull up, and I didn't really see too much of anything else. We were put in the back of a car.
Welcome, Ruby Rescue, and she probably is.
So you stayed in the police car?
Yeah.
You didn't go up to the house?
No.
And then did you stay in that police car for a while?
Yeah, they told us to wait there until they came back.
Were you aware if Linda had a cell phone?
Yes.
Do you know if she had more than one cell phone?
Yeah, she had 2 phones.
And how do you know that she had 2 phones?
I had seen her use both of them on different occasions.
Did she ever ask you to get any bills or pick up any bills for her?
Yes.
What did she ask you to do?
So she called me and asked me to grab the mail that was going to be on the porch, and there was going to be a phone bill within that mail, and she asked me to hide the phone bill.
The desk, sir.
Did she tell you who to hide it from?
Yes, my dad.
Yes, he is crying, Timmy Fayette.
Did Linda ever talk to you prior to the fire about them divorcing or who you might want to live with?
She had brought it up a couple times.
Do you recall how close to the fire that was?
No, I can't recall.
Do you ever remember your dad working on the furnace in the past while you were living at that house?
No.
Do you ever remember a time when there wasn't heat in the house or that it was cold?
No.
Did Linda ask you to move boxes of photos or any photos out to the shed before the fire?
Make sure you have your emotional support giant lion cat who demands pets for this testimony. Yes, sir. Because he wanted to walk on my desk.
No.
Yes, he was majestic. No, you don't get the
At
mic.
your home, did you have a snowblower?
A snowblower?
A snowblower.
No, not that I remember. I don't remember a snowblower.
Do you guys have lawnmowers?
We had an old lawnmower.
Was it common to keep gas cans on the property?
Yes.
And where would those be stored?
Either in the shed or in our barn. Kind of, we made like a barn with overhangs where the tractor and the lawnmower would have been.
So
gas,
they,
the gas cans would have been with the tractor underneath of the overhang or with it inside the shed there behind the house.
Any reason there should have been a gas can in the front yard?
No.
Yes, he was majestic.
Did Linda ever talk to you about what happened after the fire?
It was brought up within car rides.
Car rides with who?
My other two brothers.
And what did she say about the fire?
It depended on the time. The stories changed a few different times.
Do you recall what they were and how they changed?
Yes, I'm sorry. Is I not?
The first time that
Oh, no. Why? Okay. Someone is getting confused that I need you to see how big this big boy is. He is a Maine Coon and he's huge and I'm slightly deflating. So he just scratched the hell out of my bad leg. You dingus, I love you, but you're just a dingus. Yeah, I'm reading guilt and remorse, regret, sadness, anger, but I'm not getting vindictive. I'm not getting I'm here to cause pain. I'm here, for retribution. He's here for justice. There is a difference. Retribution looks a lot like Kate Fox. Looks a lot like, levels of petty. This man is here for justice. And yeah, for my big birthday where I'm officially somewhat middle-aged, and after my dog Fry died, I said, I would like a Maine Coon if possible. And they are expensive. I'm not going to lie. We paid a butt-ton for him for a cat. And I had just lost Fry like 2 months ago, or 2 months when I found him. And I just went to look at kittens. I wasn't sure if I was going to find one I liked. And Dingus, his name was going to be Wilfred Catley, because I love to make fun of Wilfred Brimley. He's just the greatest guy. I love him. But Dingus was the greatest kitten, and he came to rest right on the boob shelf, and I thought, oh my gosh, well, if he likes the rack of justice, he's my cat. So he's still an ass. Like he's like Stitch. He's 70% bad, but 30% good, which is better than before he got neutered, which was 90% bad, 10% good. And I am, yes, avoiding this testimony because it's breaking my heart. Actually, I am going to stop this there because I'm going to need an adult fucking beverage for the defense. And I will be sending you guys over to the next stream. Again, I will be streaming from about 3:15 to 5:30. This is the new schedule. I do apologize for people that had kind of gotten used to the 6 p.m. slot. But since my husband's job is changing, it's just easier to do it this way. So we will all need an adult beverage and 94 emotional support cats, a support, a curly horse, and a pony to get through this. So I will see you guys then. We will get through this, and then we might get a chunk of day 7, or I might just rant to all hell, to be honest, if Linda really flippin' pisses me off, or the defense. So it'll be a crapshoot. But housekeeping and big promotion, because I'm trying to do all the serious YouTuber things. On Friday, we will be doing a fun sort of thing. We will be reacting to the Broken Bakers talk interview, Flame War, Bloodsport interview with the Yellow Cottage. So I will bring all the petty, all the snark, and my very limited knowledge of the Karen Reed case, and we will go on a ride on the Petty Express. So tell your friends, we are doing a react video. I think I'm going to make Fridays the Petty Express reacts, so we might react to different things. I know there is a bunch of new stuff coming out for Delphi, so as soon as I get my poop in a group and my life on track, which will be probably next leap day for about an hour, that will be happening. So put it on your calendars. I do have the stream up. Put it on your notifications, all those YouTube-y things. Like, subscribe, share to your friends. And thank you so much for joining me. This is a fun but heartbreaking trial. And at the bottom of it, you have a man who seemed like he was trying to do his best to be a provider for his wife, a provider for his family, and, not be caged into a 9-to-5. Maybe he didn't do the business right. Maybe he fussed, but no one deserves to die the way Todd did. And maybe we can get to the bottom of it together with snark and dark humor. So remember, you guys, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, but have a sassy mouth and carry a can of bitch fire, because kindness no longer equals doormat. I'll see you guys later.